Hello, everybody. I am Mel Barrett, and welcome to Something's Off, round 2 of Lindsay Clancy today. Did everybody have a good lunch? Are we rested? Are we ready to go? We're going to get this done in probably the next hour and a half, because there wasn't much left to today's testimony, which is a good thing, because these guys are a lot. We know this. All right, let's get to day 21. How's everybody doing? How's the chat? I'm going to let people get in here real quick. We're going to take a very short break to hear from our sponsors. Not really. Just a little bit of a musical interlude. Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, allegedly. I'm Smile.
Happy Monday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie. Happy gay summer, Mel.
Happy hump day, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm not humping anybody. I'm Rebecca Lavoie.
Happy Saturday, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
Oh, no.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and my mic is muted.
Good morning, everybody. I am Mel Barrett.
I'm Rebecca Lavoie, and that's Briscoe.
And welcome to Something's Off, a true crime podcast where we swat the haters aside with our astute takes and humor and joy. And
the
I don't
joylessness
give
of
a
those
fuck in
people.
this. Blah.
Hags.
You hear it first in the break in the story. One little crack and the whole thing gets wary. A witness swears but the timeline bends. A smile too smooth and the trail just ends. Mel Barrett says, hold up, look again. Rebecca Lavoie follows every thread. If it feels too neat, then it's not the truth. There's a shadow line running through the room. Something's off, something's off. You can feel it in the bones. Something's off, something's off. When the facts won't come home. Something's off, something's off. And the case won't stay in place. Something's off. We're the ones who chase.
We're gonna go members only.
Yeah, we're the ones who chase. Wait, did that witness just blink 3 times? Something's off. Something's off.
What's up, Klutz? We're back. Interesting part of the day today. Court, as soon as I was coming on, the Commonwealth rested their case and he dismissed the jury. Judge Sullivan dismissed the jury, and they're about to do a charge conference. So I'm hoping we can get through most of that, if not all of it, today before we come back for closing arguments tomorrow. I will be on at noon tomorrow for closing arguments. So we might be a little behind, but that will be good because then we can put it on a little bit faster speed. Yes, the prosecution just rested. Pammers, thanks for the 200 joules. Hello, everybody. Hey, Jen. Hey, Buddy. Hey, Mini Bear. Pammers. Sam. Sarah. Dizzy. I'm glad your notification worked. Did you try to do the thing that I suggested where you click the notification on the device that you plan to watch it on? Is that why we think it worked? Let me know. Inquiring minds. All right. Let's get into it. We are still on direct examination of this FBI guy. Okay, cool. Dizzy says, we tested a theory and it seems like it worked. Hey, Miss Chris, if you hit the notify me button, click it on the device that you're going to watch the show on. So if you click the notify me button on your phone, you should watch it on your phone. If you click it on your TV, you should watch it on your TV. I guess the best bet is to click notify me on all the devices. If one more bad thing happens, Mel, I'm gonna lose it. I know. The other God, we lost Dolly yesterday, and today we lost Tim Curry. Tim Curry, Rocky Horror Picture Show, Rooster from Annie, It, the original It, Pennywise. I am devastated. He's one of my favorite people on the planet. 2 of my favorite people on the planet passed away in the past 2 days, and it's not a great week. There are other people that I would prefer leave us, that just are sticking around, not leaving us. Oh yeah, Clue. How could I have forgotten Clue? Jeez. Oh, Tim Curry. Rooster. Rocky Horror. Oh, God, he was the best. And most importantly, from Muppet Treasure Island. And speaking of Muppets, the guy we have on the stand today, if you weren't here earlier, I think he looks a little like this. Oh, Sam the Eagle. He looks like Sam the Eagle. Let's get into it. Love to our beloved Frankfurter. Damn right, the YouTubery.
Told you about that. Going to what she told you about the voice and what it said to her. Did the defendant tell you if the voice told her where to kill the children?
No.
And we might have to skip.
Did the voice tell her how to kill the children?
No.
Did the voice tell her what to use
guys,
to
look,
kill
he
the
looks
children?
just like him.
What order to kill the children?
No.
Did the voice tell her in what way
So
to kill
painful,
herself?
Dizzy. So painful.
No.
Let's actually speed it up.
The fact that the voice, according to the defendant, the voice didn't tell her any of those things, but instead just said, kill the kids so you can kill yourself. Is that significant in your evaluation in any way?
Yes.
How so?
Well, in the
Thank you. I tried. Equals.
small amount of time that Ms. Clancy had in the home without her husband, it was important in order to carry this out.
18
as well as
minutes.
Suicide, to do this quickly, methodically, and the like. And so this is
18
having no
minutes.
instructions as to how to do it, but being able to execute those decisions, including being able to get a phone call and then return it to her husband in the process of all of this. Certainly,
We don't know if it was in the process. No one has testified to that. No one knows the exact time frame here. Patrick was out of the house for at least 45 minutes. So we don't know. So for him to be stating this as fact is disingenuous, in my opinion. D Cool says the voice didn't give her handwritten instructions. Get the fuck out of here.
The phone call was not expected. That is surprising that she was able to accomplish all of this without any other kind of direction or plan.
Does that indicate to you that she was making decisions about those things, about where and how and when?
Your Honor, this is, again, for the record, direct examination is leading by objector that have standing objection. Yeah, if you just rephrase it.
Standing
What does the
objection.
fact that she was able to do all of that indicate
Leading.
to you, if anything?
Well, it indicated that she had control of the sequence of what she was doing throughout.
This
So
woman
Doctor, you
didn't have
talk in your
control.
report
We know
about
that.
interpersonal psychological theory of suicide. What is that?
Well, that has to do with the decision-making process or the capability for someone who attempts suicide.
And are there three parts to that theory?
Yes.
And what are they?
Well, one would be called aloneness, or the sense of isolation, people not understanding. So that is a real difficult challenge for people to face.
You think?
They feel that they can't fully share with others.
You think?
Another is burdensomeness. If someone feels that they are a burden to others, that is also something that we find is a component to those who make serious suicide attempts and completions. And third is what I would call capability. So you can have that sense of aloneness. You can have that sense of burdensomeness. But if you don't have the capability of taking your life, you can be very suicidal, but not ultimately accomplish the suicide. It does not mean that you're not suicidal. But that issue of capability is one that's very difficult, because we have a natural will to live. And that is the most difficult thing for people to overcome.
The thing that's the most
Ooh.
difficult thing to overcome, that's the capability of
Science
that.
and sass. Great. Great question and comment. So if anyone does anything in sequence, they are fully aware? Question mark. Should we start applying that logic to people who sleepwalk? Great question.
Actually committing suicide, is that what you're saying?
Correct.
And this theory in the three parts, did you compare what Ms. Clancy told you and what you saw in the records to this theory, and have any conclusions about that?
Yes.
And what were they?
I feel like
Well,
I'm really
certainly,
low in my chair.
the documentation from the medical and mental health records demonstrates that sense of isolation she felt, even
Thanks,
in the company
Amy.
of others. That sense that she was just having a problem that
People on
was
Ambien
difficult,
just be doing
difficult for her
things.
to understand, difficult for others to understand. And
Yep.
of course, the
We
the
all
suicidal
just be
feelings,
doing
that came about,
things.
and then ultimately those feelings about harming her children. This is not something that she could share.
No shit,
The
dude.
sense of burdensomeness, she had planned to go back to work, as she had for her first two children, Cora and Dawson. And the time that she was expecting.
Hey, Amanda, we're actually on we're on today, the day 21 of the trial, August 26th. We covered all of what happened yesterday, and I decided to keep it going and get today's done because the Commonwealth just rested, and after that they're doing the charge conference, which means closing arguments are tomorrow, and I'll be covering closing arguments at 12 p.m. tomorrow. That's where we're at.
Expecting to go to work kept extending because she just did not feel mentally healthy enough to be able to return to work and function. And so in some of the documentation where she filled out concerns and was asked about the kind of
You're
stressors
welcome.
in her life, she indicated that financial was one of the stressors that she was encountering. So to believe that her brain had been damaged, that she was not able to do what she loved, which was labor and delivery nursing, but also not in a position to help support the family, really was
Yeah, that sucks.
would be a burden for
Yep.
anyone. And certainly that sense of burdensomeness
It's heavy. It's
was something
painful.
that I believe she was experiencing. And then the last component, capability, I truly believe that her suicide attempt was very, very serious, which is why she employed 3 different methods. The fact that the use of the
Guilty.
knife and the lacerations were not deep doesn't mean that she wasn't intending to kill
What do you mean
herself
they weren't
with a
deep?
knife.
Are you kidding me? 3 centimeters? Think about that, you guys. I'm not going to show you the pictures because they're gruesome. 3 centimeters. They're not deep. Fuck off with this guy. Despite the look on my face, said, I cut my bangs on Ambien. No shit, it was the best bang cut I've ever done. Guilty. You must be guilty.
But oftentimes that, as I mentioned, is the most difficult thing. I think the employment of the 3 different avenues, locking the door, and also not being dressed for the cold, indicate to me that this attempt was very, very serious.
You think?
Despite the fact that
She tried 3 different
the use
ways.
of the knife was not successful in cutting her arms, cutting her neck.
And so, doctor, in terms of the cutting on the arms and the neck not being sufficient to cause death, is that what you're referring to? Is that as someone faces difficulty
gonna bring up
an
superficial
inability
again?
to be capable of
Is this
actually
gonna be
following
about
through to commit
superficial?
suicide?
Correct.
So in this case, it's your opinion that she was trying to commit suicide, but struggling with that third capability issue.
Correct.
Now, you testified yesterday about the intrusive thoughts that Ms. Clancy was having about harming herself in the fall leading up through December into January. And those thoughts at times, would it be accurate to state that Ms. Clancy reported at times that taking Ativan helped with those thoughts?
Yes.
And was there anything significant in
Shit,
your
Kim.
review of the case in terms of her reporting that Ativan helped her with those thoughts?
Yes.
How so?
So Ativan is a lorazepam, a benzodiazepine. This is a medication that is
Benzos.
very helpful for treating anxiety.
Okay, here's the
It
crazy
also
thing.
can help
We've already heard about all of the drugs and what they do. I'm going to skip forward just a little bit.
for that person to, a voice might be saying this. There's other decision-making going on.
All right, here, let's go. We're going to the hallucinations.
Command hallucination is saying.
And doctor, is it possible for someone
Wait, sorry, what did he just say?
Something that makes sense, particularly when the command is just so serious and so against someone's values. So it's possible and common for people to engage in behaviors to avoid doing what a command hallucination is saying.
And doctor, is it possible for someone who is experiencing psychosis and command hallucinations to conform their behavior to the law?
Yes.
And how so? Is it basically what you were just telling us?
You poor kid.
Yes. If someone is having a command hallucination to do something out in public, but there is a police officer nearby, it certainly is possible for that person to choose not to engage in that behavior because of the consequences. Even though a voice might be saying this, there's other decision-making going on based upon the environment.
Now, doctor, in your evaluation of Lindsay Clancy, did you come to an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty as to whether or not she was suffering from a mental disease or defect on January 24th, 2023?
Yes.
Yes.
And what was that opinion?
I
She
believe
was.
that Ms. Clancy was suffering from
They
a
all
mental
agree.
disease or defect, and I felt that based upon the presentation, a bipolar 2 diagnosis seemed to make the most sense,
Okay.
given the
So we've got all these people saying she was bipolar 2. Experts, doctors, nurse Gelada said that she was probably seeing some signs of bipolar. And if we remember correctly from the DSM, which is what the prosecution's witnesses, expert witnesses are going off of, psychosis is a possible side effect or an offshoot of bipolar 2. Also an offshoot of a big depressive mood disorder. Also an offshoot of short-term psychosis. I mean, I don't know.
symptoms of insomnia that she had that were precipitated by the Zoloft. And this was just very, very significant. And while it didn't fulfill all the criteria or many of the criteria, if she were a patient of mine, I would diagnose her as bipolar 2 because I would want to make sure that any doctor who saw her afterwards would be very wary of using an SSRI antidepressant in treating her.
And Doctor, you mentioned the drug effects, so left-hand effect, and SSRIs might have an effect. Is there a difference when you're treating someone and they're taking medications between being over-medicated and having an adverse reaction to medication?
Yes.
And what is the difference?
Well, when we think about side effects, that is an example of a medication having a response. Now, sometimes we have side effects when we're not necessarily over-medicated, but we put up with those.
Does he have
those
a
side
lisp
effects.
too?
When there is too much
I have a
medication,
lot of
certainly we can experience
witnesses who have
those
lisps.
side effects. For
Which
example,
is fine. I'm not saying anything's wrong
over-sedation,
with that. It's cute.
or there are some medications that can cause stimulation, so people are not able to sleep. An adverse reaction is much more serious. An adverse reaction could be, for example, an allergic reaction that could cause death, or some type of reaction that you don't see in most people, but has been reported. So there is a difference between side effects, no matter how difficult they are, and what we would call adverse effects, which can be extremely serious.
Is he speaking English?
And in your review of the records of the medications that the defendant was prescribed from September through December, did you see any evidence of her having adverse effects from the medication?
Well, the insomnia secondary to the Zoloft
Yeah,
was
you
very
think?
concerning to me, and it would mean not just cutting the Zoloft back, but stopping it. I would say that the Zoloft was in precipitating insomnia. I mean, she reported 48 hours straight of
No
not
shit.
being able to sleep. That was an adverse effect, and an adverse effect
Of
really requires
Zoloft.
one to stop the medication.
And
Okay.
that is what Dr. Jennifer Tufts did with Ms. Clancy, correct? She had her stop the medication?
Correct.
And in reviewing those records again from September through December of 2022, did you see any evidence that Ms. Clancy was over-medicated?
Interesting. What you thinking about? Keep in mind, this is on
She
dump
experienced
1.5
some
speed.
significant side effects from some of her medications.
Let's go back and listen to that question. Because remember, women and infants in Rhode Island rejected her from their programs because they said that she was over-medicated. And so she's asking him this question. And he's thinking.
She experienced some significant side effects from some of her medications. She was given, I think, nurse practitioner Paul gave her clonazepam, which is also a benzodiazepine, and she really had an uncomfortable reaction to that. Just woke up and felt quite confused. So she sought that medication, understandably.
And then they put her
Seroquel
on 12 other
is a medication,
medications.
quetiapine, that at high doses can cause some significant side effects.
I do too, Nichols.
At lower doses, it generally helps treat insomnia. At higher doses, it can have more significant effects. And in terms of just ability to
Welcome,
think
Karen.
and
Glad you're
organize
here.
one's thoughts.
We were
However,
getting fired up earlier
Ms.
today.
Clancy in December of 2022, chose at that time
This
to
guy.
continue on Seroquel, a combination of
Yes, he
Seroquel
said
and
Benadryl.
Valium. Nurse practitioner Gelada had suggested another medication, olanzapine, Zyprexa, which she's taking now. And Ms. Clancy asked that she continue on the Seroquel at that point and the Valium. So, you know, it's a challenge. One has side effects, but one also sees benefit in the medication. And certainly that combination at that time, I think it was around December 7th, December 9th, that was really helping her sleep. And so she asked to continue on those two medications.
So I guess when I ask about over-medication and you talk about the side effects of the medication, there seems to be a disconnect between maybe what a layperson calls over-medicated versus what the medical definition of that is. So is what you're saying that being over-medicated medically means having side effects to the medication?
Well, no, not necessarily.
So what does over-medicated mean to you in your profession?
Well, if someone were to prescribe a medication that was beyond the limit that safely can be prescribed, for example, it's possible to be toxic on, say, lithium,
We
which is a
feel you,
medication that
Karen.
she took for a while she was at Tewksbury. And if I were prescribing, say, 1,200 milligrams of lithium twice a day, and her lithium level was toxic, as it would likely be, that would clearly be an example of over-medication.
And did you see any evidence of that scenario in the defendant's records that she was prescribed too high a dose to make her be at a toxic level of any medication?
It's not
I
okay.
think those who were
It's not about whether she was on too high of a dose. That could be a thing. It's the fact that she was in a 4-month period. Let's not forget, in a 4-month period, she was prescribed 12 to 13 different prescriptions, including benzos, including Seroquel, including SSRIs, including sleeping, including a recommendation to take Benadryl with these things. I understand, like, she was freaking the fuck out because she wasn't sleeping for 48 hours straight. You can go insane after you haven't slept for 3 days. So this is crazy to me that the simple answer to this question is, yeah, she was over-medicated. She was prescribed 12 to 13 different drugs in a 4-month span. She wasn't titrating off. She was stopping some cold. She was only on some for a week. If they don't think, if the layperson hears that and thinks that she's okay, then that layperson has an issue, I think. We've been talking about this for 21 days. Why are we still questioning this? A program that treats women with postpartum symptoms of baby blues, depression, anxiety, and psychosis turned her away from their program and said, we're turning you away because you were over-medicated. And then they went ahead and made a call to Gelada, who had been her last prescriber, and didn't receive a call back. Do we have to go through this all again? We've been doing this for 21 days.
were prescribing for her were responding to the symptoms that she was bringing. There was a kind of a rapid increase in the dose of Seroquel, and that higher dose of Seroquel.
And the Seroquel,
was,
Jesus.
She didn't. I believe she was ultimately prescribed at 400 milligrams, and she never ended up taking that. But
Okay.
as
Fucking
a clinician, we do our
speak.
best to try and treat symptoms.
So, doctor, did you
Next
see?
question.
Doctor, did you see, other than the Seroquel, any medications that the amount that was prescribed you would think would be over medication?
No.
And then the Seroquel itself, you said she was prescribed up to 400 milligrams, but she reported that she never took that amount, correct?
Correct.
And after her stay at McLean Hospital, she had been weaned off of the Seroquel, correct?
That's right.
And the only medications immediately after leaving McLean Hospital were trazodone and Valium, correct?
Correct.
Dr. Tufts added a
Only.
medication as a
Just a
result
few of
of
those things.
her appointments with the defendant in January. Is that correct?
That's right.
And what was that medication?
That was amitriptyline, also known as Elavil.
And you saw that what the initial dose of that was, correct?
Correct.
What was that?
The initial dose from Dr. Tufts was 10 milligrams.
Is that a high dose for an adult?
No, it's the very smallest dose possible.
And then did Dr. Tufts increase that dose?
Yes.
And when was that?
After a week, she increased the dose from 10 milligrams to 20 milligrams.
And is that a significant increase in the dose?
No,
Is 20 milligrams a significant or large dose for
Yes.
an adult?
not at all.
10
Equals,
milligrams or
yes.
20 milligrams of amitriptyline, is that something you could even prescribe to a child?
Yes.
Most of the medicines that she was on, she started at the child dose. Like we've talked about this before. When I started sertraline, I was on 50 milligrams, which is a child dose, and I could only go up to 75. So when they're they're being so flippant about some of these dosage amounts as well, whenever they're like, so 25 is where you start and then you move up to 50, right? Not a big deal. I went from 50 to 75, and then we tried to go to 100, and as soon as I hit 100, that's when I started feeling agitation and all the bad side effects that come with it. So we went back down to 75. That's where I've been for like 7 years. If they were doing that with Lindsay, after a week, go up to 50, after a week, go up to 20, after a week, go up to whatever, and then, oh, that's not working, the side effects, and then cut it off, and then start a new one. We're not doctors, but we understand the way our bodies work when we are over medicated. And that is what happened here. And it's very simple. I don't know why we're digging into this again, but yes, this is a great point, Karen. Dose change and its significance are also dependent on how the individual metabolizes it, their size, and many other factors. And Lindsay was very small. And on top of that, she'd lost like 10 or 15 pounds. So she was even smaller. And she was losing weight because of her mental health issues. And the blood test that Kevin Reddington keeps asking about, Karen's absolutely right here. I agree. They should have been doing blood tests to see what exactly was in her system. Yeah. And they should have been doing blood tests to figure out what would work in her system. And they didn't. And they could have. They chose not to. They also chose not to talk to any of her other doctors or any of her other prescribers. They just chose to, when they saw her, that's when her treatment began. Anything before that didn't really matter to anybody.
Now, doctor, based on your review of all of the records and your meetings with Ms. Clancy and your collateral interviews, did you form an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty as to whether or not Lindsay Clancy on January 24th, 2023 could appreciate the difference between right and wrong?
Yes.
And what was that opinion?
My opinion is that she did have the capacity to appreciate right from wrong.
And what do you base that on?
Well, on a number of things. Ms. Clancy had just met with her psychiatrist, Dr. Tufts, the day before. And in that discussion with Dr. Tufts, as documented, she denied suicidal ideation, and she also denied thoughts of harm to others. And also there was an ongoing conversation regarding future possible treatments, esketamine or TMS, which I spoke about yesterday, that could be employed to help her.
That is the treatment that we talked about, I think last week, that it requires you to be inpatient and they have to monitor you for, I think, 60 hours or something like that. It's intravenous, and the starting price is about $35,000. So we're talking about a woman who was having financial insecurity, probably not wanting to go with the program where she's got to be away from her kids for 2 or 3 days, and also it's going to cost them $35,000. Just throwing it out there, Doc.
Also, with regard to the appreciation between right and wrong, the planning involved prior to the strangling of her children, I thought was significant. The searches for distance of 3V, the searches of CBS,
we already went
done
through
prior
this.
to her sending fairly late in the afternoon a text asking her husband if
this guy, again, I'm going to say it.
Didn't mind taking out.
He's never human before. He doesn't understand a mom being in charge of her household, trying to get everything planned in advance so she doesn't have to do it herself. Looking up the restaurant, looking up the medicine for the kiddo, doing all that stuff, and then at the last minute being like, "Oh shit, I also need you to run to CVS." That does not prove premeditation. What that proves is a mom trying to live a normal life with her 3 young children and hoping that her husband can step up to the plate and do what he needs to do, which is go grab dinner and stop at CVS to get the right medication. And here's a screenshot of the right medication. And oh, he still needs to call to figure out if it's the right medication. This is human shit. And if we want to talk about the chicken nuggets, if this guy doesn't think that kids eat and then they're like, I'm still hungry. And you're like, okay, let's make some more chicken nuggets. Like it's insane to me that he would even, I think part of the problem with this witness is that he's been working with incarcerated patients, institutionalized patients. He's not used to working with a mom who has been out trying to deal with her postpartum depression, anxiety, psychosis, whatever it might be, living her life. None of this stuff that she did on the day that this happened is inconsistent with anything. It just is. And it's just like, this guy, I think he's forgotten how to human. I really do. He doesn't know what he's talking about. And I'm not talking about the doctor stuff. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a therapist. I'm not any of those things. I'm not a lawyer. He has simply forgotten how to human on the outside world.
3B, and then adding on. So that planning, that preparatory planning, I thought was significant. The avoidance of witnesses. A witness during a time when one is committing a crime can intervene, not just report, but also intervene. And so the fact that this was done without any witness present during a time where she had asked the potential witness to go on a longer errand, also I thought was significant. Concealment is another thing that I think indicated an understanding of right and wrong. I mean, the children were strangled all in the basement.
All right, I gotta skip through. Sorry, guys, we don't talk about this.
As to kill herself, which she expected would happen. She was conscious of time and told me that she had mapped
Get
out
your words
the
out.
distance, et cetera, because she didn't want her husband to be gone too long. But
Right.
in this case, I think the issue of
Right. So, but you just don't believe her? You just don't believe her? You believe her about all the other things, but you don't believe her about this?
time and her husband returning rather than being a solution.
Okay. She's telling you she mapped it out and tried to figure it out because she didn't want Patrick to be gone too long, right? Oh, sorry. And also, she just knew in her bones that she could get this done in 18 minutes. Are you kidding me? This is just a mom. She's a labor and delivery nurse who has 3 young kids. And you're trying to tell me that she was like methodical, going through, doing all these steps that she had planned out in her mind? I don't know. But in 18 minutes, she thought she could get this done. There weren't going to be any hiccups. There weren't going to be any problems. But what happens if Patrick comes back early and walks in? Like, what are we talking about? Why wouldn't she have done it when he went away on a work trip? Why wouldn't she have done it when she would know for sure that no one would come and find them? To me, because of the way it happened, because it happened during a time where she just sent him out to do a normal everyday thing like get dinner and get medicine for the kids, that's when it happened, which means that it was very much out of the blue, which means that she probably wasn't in control of herself. I believe it was Resnick who said she was a puppet on strings. I have no idea, Jen Toxic, where he's getting 18 minutes. I'm just saying what he's saying. No one really knows because none of us, that theory has never been made concrete in this case. They're just choosing, I think, based on like when her heart rate went up with her watch and the time that Patrick called. Like they're making the statement as if it's fact that Patrick called while she was in the middle of this at 5:33 p.m. We don't know that. He doesn't know that. He doesn't have, there's nothing in the files that tells him that. If we knew it, it would have come out in a concrete way in testimony from, I don't know, Ian Whiffen or La Posada or any of the first responders, the million first responders they had take the stand. We don't know that. The same way that we don't know what was in that tumbler on the bedside table, although it looked like lemonade with some crushed up meds in it. And that's what Patrick said he thought it was. And that's what Lindsay told him she did to some extent, although he couldn't be totally sure about how she got the meds in her system because he couldn't answer that question. The police never tested the contents of that tumbler. So what are we talking about? This guy's talking as if this is all fact, and it's not. None of it is. None of what he's saying is fact.
For her was a problem. And so to accomplish all of this in the course of that amount of time that Mr. Clancy was gone, I thought was significant, really showed an awareness of time. In terms of the weapons used, now these were exercise bands, but they were all near where the children were strangled. They were placed there. That's where they...
Also,
they,
I just want to say, I'm
kept
grumpy.
those.
I'm not yelling at anybody in the chat. I'm just yelling at this guy. I'm yelling at the prosecution. This is ludicrous. I hope that the jury is savvy. I hope that they've been paying attention. I'm sure that they have, and that they know that what these people are saying is not right. And these last 3 expert witnesses have based their diagnoses solely on what's in the DSM, and we know that the DSM is not right. The DSM is used for insurance purposes. Let's be honest. It's to code things, and that's it.
Those exercise bands. And the exercise bands were nearly identical. I mean, very similar in terms of what they could do as ligatures. And so that use of weapons that were readily available and nearby also was significant to me in terms of her understanding.
That was Ofo Show said, I thought it turned out he hadn't written about postpartum psychosis. He'd actually written about schizophrenia. That was Dr. Heilbrunn yesterday. That was that guy, not this guy.
And planning.
That was the other guy, guys. It wasn't this guy.
I did not see any evidence that she had delusions about her children, delusions as to something wrong with them or something that required them, because of a delusion, that they needed to die. I don't recall that she ever spoke about her children in a delusional way. Now,
in the United States,
Were there
Little
other factors
Cupcake,
that
they
influenced your
use
opinion that she
DSM
knew the
to
difference between
code.
right and wrong?
yes.
And what were they?
ICD
Well,
is
phone call,
international.
at what, 5:34 in the afternoon, I thought was significant. So Mr. Clancy was at CVS and he called his wife, and she did not pick up. She did not answer, but she called him back and had that ability to deviate from what she was doing to be able to
You don't know.
respond. And so had the presence of mind to...
This is not factual. You don't know that that's what was happening. You don't know. And if we are to know, then it would have come out in evidence. And it hasn't come out in evidence that that's what was happening.
to do
Oh
that, but also
my
to
God.
conceal from him what was going on. Locking the door is another example. I mean, certainly Ms. Clancy was aware of time and the limited amount of time to accomplish this, but by locking the door, it kept her husband from being able to enter the bedroom and therefore being able to see what had happened. So delayed that time.
You think her husband wasn't going to notice her lying on the lawn? The fuck? Good God.
On arrival, her husband asked her what happened, and she did not confess. She did not tell him what happened other than, I tried to kill myself. She also did not report auditory hallucinations, but rather said that the children were in the basement. It's my belief that she expected to die, and that by the time Mr. Clancy arrived, she would have successfully been able to take her life.
And sir, did you form an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty as to whether or not Lindsay Clancy on January 24th, 2023 had the ability to conform her behavior to the requirements of the law?
Yes.
And what is that opinion?
Well, if we look at that day, we know that in the morning she took Cora to a pediatrician's appointment.
Normal
And
mom.
all physicians receive training in psychiatry, no matter what specialty they go in. That's part of medical school. And so
She was
like
on the
other
back
doctors
lawn.
who had seen
Yeah.
her, who were not psychiatrists at appointments and whatever, the pediatrician also did not notice any unusual things about her. She did not, I mean, she was able to conform, right, to the type of behavior that a concerned mother would engage in.
We've already had
She was able to
testimony that
drive
that's
to the
totally normal
pediatrician's office
for
and then
someone
back.
who's having a psychotic break.
And the day was really one of significant control. The activities that she engaged in that day, spending time with her children with Play-Doh, taking them outside to build a snowman, sending photographs of the children to her mother, to
All
her husband
normal
on
stuff.
Instagram, fixing lunch and,
Yep.
and also fixing dinner for the children. So
Yep.
the activities of that day were controlled, as were the activities in terms of the planning that we already mentioned. So throughout the day, I mean, she was methodical and quite controlled and organized, even in that space of time that was short. There was a lot to do in terms of killing her children and also killing herself.
Jesus Christ.
And I would say that the last point.
Then why
with
would she plan to do it in 18 minutes? Why would she plan to do it if she only thought she had like a half an hour? You just said it. You're contradicting yourself, dude. Good God. I'm going to read a little something to you guys. I think the problem here is that this guy is feeding into a stereotype that I don't know why he would be doing this if he actually studies psychosis, but he's feeding into the stereotype that we see in movies and we see maybe sometimes on the street with people who are unhoused or whatever it might be. Psychosis is not a continuous, incoherent, mute. You're not mute, or there's visible agitation. Normal everyday skills, normal everyday things that you do, you can still compartmentalize your delusions and episodes, right? So let me read this to you. Routine tasks such as driving a familiar route, preparing simple meals, paying for groceries, or using a smartphone rely on procedural memory. Because these skills are deeply ingrained and require little novel cognitive processing, a person can execute them automatically, even while experiencing hallucinations or severe paranoia. You could drive just fine. You could talk to a doctor just fine. You could use your smartphone. You could microwave some chicken nuggets just fine. Just fine. A person might have a fixed, non-reality based illusion about a specific topic that external forces are monitoring them or instructing them to act. Ding, ding, ding. While their logical reasoning, speech, and polite social etiquette regarding unrelated topics like ordering food or making small talk remain completely intact. Psychotic symptoms are dynamic rather than constant. Hallucinations and delusions frequently ebb and flow throughout the day. An individual may experience intense acute distress during 1 hour and appear calm, focused, and conversational in the next. Many individuals experiencing early stage or intermittent psychosis retain enough awareness to know their internal experiences deviate from social norms. Out of fear of judgment, hospitalization, or loss of custody/employment, people often exert immense effort to suppress visible distress and mimic normal behavior in public or around casual acquaintances. This guy is a doctor. He's supposed to study this. He's supposed to know this. He is being disingenuous. He is only telling the jury what the prosecutors want him to tell the jury, and that is really fucked up, in my opinion. Yes, we're still on Angry Henry Rollins, Lady Harlot, and I'm getting angrier as we go on. Yeah, the cross is about to start. Psychotic break is just that, a break from reality that can a break from reality that can just come on and last varying lengths of time. I've seen it, and it's extremely scary. I will never forget it. I personally have experienced it, not a full psychosis, but a psychotic break based on a reaction to Prozac, which I had only been on for 2 days. So, yeah. She said she heard the voice after the call with Patrick. Now is your chance. Okay. That still doesn't, there's no 18-minute time. We don't know what he's talking about. He's saying that the call came, she made the call in the middle of doing this. And Patrick said she sounded like she was in the middle of something, but that doesn't mean she was in the middle of unaliving the children. Nobody knows. That's the problem. Nobody knows for sure because the cops didn't do their jobs again on this case. Mirage of Reality in Minnesota. Thank you for the 5 jewels. I appreciate you. Yes, this is what I just said. I don't know if you were here for this, Lady Harlot, but I said, I don't think this guy is used to working with people out of the prison system, people who are institutionalized, people who are incarcerated. They have very different routines, wants, needs, actions. This is like a mom of 3 young kids who is a labor and delivery nurse living in suburbia, trying to not show anybody that she is falling apart at the seams. Very different than someone who he describes later as, or maybe he already described it, taking their clothes off and running around the prison. This is different, dude. Ugh. Hey, Just Not B. It was the scariest thing I've ever gone through, and it was so disorienting, Amanda said. I agree. Very, very scary. Yep. Agreed again, Karen. Meds can absolutely do it. Pair that with lack of sleep, and this was a disaster waiting to happen. If this guy never passed the boards, that's a problem. We need Rebecca's red flags. I know, I don't have any red flags here. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Okay. Back to it, I guess. Blech.
With regard to conforming to the law is that when she received the phone call from her husband, she did not report to him that she was in distress, that she was having hallucinations, that she needed help. So with that phone, by calling her husband back and reassuring him by the fact that, yes, she knew the medication, whatever, that helped guarantee that he would continue on the errands. Had she not called him back, it would likely, or it certainly was possible that he would be concerned enough that he would return home. And so I think the phone figures in just in terms of her awareness and conforming her behavior such that the strangling of her children could be concealed.
And doctor, did you form an opinion to a reasonable degree of medical certainty as to whether Lindsay Clancy on January 24th, 2023, when she strangled her children, was criminally responsible?
Yes.
And what is that opinion?
Yes. It is my opinion within a reasonable degree of medical certainty that Ms. Clancy was criminally responsible.
Move to submit Dr. Satoff's CD as an exhibit.
Any objection, counsel? That may be admitted.
Okay, she's done. Little Cupcake says, I see his testimony is similar to the neurologist who testified about OJO, the John O'Keefe trial, testimony from the wrong kind of specialist, plus with hypothetical, yeah, could have FX skull on lawn, possible sometimes, etc. Yeah, that's Dr. Wolf. He was a neurological surgeon, and he only operated on alive patients. So, yeah. Yeah, I can see that as well. D Cool said maybe she was hungry and wanted him to go get dinner and not leave the takeout at the place. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so let's get to Reddington's Cross.
You conducted your investigation or examination of Lindsay by Zoom, correct?
Did you say by June?
Sorry,
Zoom.
Zoom. You know,
By Zoom. Okay.
Television.
I thought you said because it wasn't
Television.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And can you tell us when you were first engaged by the district attorney's office to assist them in this case?
I first was informed about the case, I think in January or early February of 2026 of this year.
Guys, don't forget to hit that like button, please.
The final contract with the university was not completed, as I recall, until April.
And is that a matter of significant import when you're engaged in evaluating a young woman that's charged with triple homicide and you're hired by the government? The fact that there's a contract that wasn't signed by your school?
Well, sometimes it's a long process that I don't have any control over.
Sure, I understand.
I've seen those kinds of things take a while, take longer than one would necessarily want.
So the contract with your school that you're talking about would be the contract for your compensation, for your opinion?
Well, I would never be contracted for an opinion.
Okay,
But
you're getting paid, right?
no, I'm getting paid a salary.
Yes,
The
and
university is getting paid.
the university is deriving a benefit monetarily from your testimony or working on this case for the DA, right?
That's right.
All right. And how much did the university get as a result of your involvement in this case?
I don't know what the hourly rate is that they charge.
So you don't know what the hourly rate for your time is, right?
Correct.
You don't know how much money was paid by the district attorney's office to the university, right?
Correct.
You don't know how much money will be paid for perhaps yesterday, today, whatever, balance billing. You don't know that either, right?
That's right.
You were retained or engaged in January of 26, right?
Yes.
This is an incident that occurred on January of 23, right?
Yes.
In January of 23 to January of 26, 3 years
That's right.
to being engaged on the case, right?
Correct.
And when you were engaged on the case, at some point, the university must have been out of the picture and you must have started to communicate with the DA's office, the police, or whoever.
That's right.
And you knew about this case. It had a significant amount of publicity, right?
Yes.
Did you know that other doctors on behalf of the district attorney's office were being hired to also evaluate Lindsay?
I didn't specifically know that, but that's usually the case.
Is it important to see someone, to evaluate them as close in time as the incident is alleged to have occurred to your evaluation, or does it matter? In other words, is it better to see someone like, within a month or two after an incident, or 3.5 years later?
Well, what's most important is the collateral information that was gathered at the time to understand what was going on at the time. Ms. Clancy's behavior during her hospitalization and the like, there are records, but certainly there are benefits to an examination closer to the event.
Jackie, I just want to put this comment up and address it. We've talked about it here before. Jack says, I love Reddington and I'm annoyed by his frequent implications that telehealth therapy and or medication management is less good than in person. It's just as good. I agree that it's really helpful for people who are not able to leave the house or travel or, need that, and who have social anxiety, those kinds of things. However, I think he's making a good point, excuse me, in this case, because in order to, a psychiatrist prescribing meds to someone who is telling them all the symptoms that Lindsay Clancy was telling Dr. Tufts she had, he made a point earlier on that is very strong in my opinion, and that's that you can't see, like you guys can't see right now what my hands are doing. You can't see what my legs are doing. You can't see if my leg is like bopping up, under the desk. You can't see if my hands are shaking. You can't see if I'm fidgeting. You can't see if there's someone in the room with me. You can't, there's so many things that a doctor, like, I agree that telehealth, especially at the end of COVID, was supremely important. However, to prescribe this amount of drugs in this short of a time period for a brand new patient from a doctor who was only in practice for a month, at least one visit in person should have happened, in my opinion. But I agree with you that telehealth is an amazing thing for some people.
And you would agree with me, sir, that you actually saw and questioned or interrogated Lindsay, 2 months ago?
May 29th and June 4th.
Okay. And when you went to interview her in purposes of your evaluation, you had already accessed the collateral information, sir?
Yes.
Before I go there, let me just review a few things here on your CV, which the jurors will have to examine.
We're not going to listen to his CV. We've already heard it.
About whether it was safe.
So these
So
are
you can take
students.
them
I'm sorry, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Yeah. No, that's all right.
Okay, these are students, right?
Correct.
In college, right?
That's right.
That have been thrown out or disciplined or suspended or something, and they're trying to get back into school, right?
That's right.
And when the parents of the students come, they retain you to advocate on their behalf?
No.
No, you work for the school, right?
Correct.
You evaluate them and then back the school up so that these kids.
Okay, we're talking about his evaluation of students, the Virginia Department of Corrections, where he worked, behavioral analysis unit for the FBI. He worked in Max and Supermax facilities, critical incident response group for the U.S. Air Force. This guy has tons of experience. It terrifies me. I hope he's not treating people on the outside, people who are not institutionalized or in the military, or, because he cannot identify with regular old everyday suburban moms or regular old human beings, and that really freaks me out. So we go through all of that. Advisory positions, U.S. government, FBI. Hold on a second. Okay, this is going back to Lindsay.
And you would agree with me, sir, that you've been in here telling this jury all about Lindsay and how she didn't hear voices or did hear voices or exaggerated and lied. Have you written any articles at all on the concept of auditory hallucinations?
No.
Have you read any of them?
Read any articles? Yes.
Yeah, okay. You certainly have heard of Dr. Philip Resnick.
Right.
Yeah?
Prison
Yeah.
population.
And
Those
fair
are
to
his
say,
clients.
tell me if I'm wrong. Is he literally a world-known authority in your field for filicide or the killing of children by their parents?
Yes, he's well known.
And is he also well-written as far as auditory hallucinations, same stuff you've been testifying about?
Yes.
And he published an article in the International Journal of Law and Psychiatry, which is considered to be, if you know, a landmark article about, and I captioned, listening to voices, the use of phenomenology to differentiate malingered from genuine auditory verbal hallucinations. Now, did you read that article?
Yes.
So it is a peer-reviewed article published in a recognized journal, correct?
Correct.
Your Honor, I would offer this under Commonwealth versus Sneed for the jury.
Sidebar.
Made for the district attorney. Could I continue? Sure. Thank you. Leaving aside peer review article and the article written by Dr. Philip Resnick, sir, for a minute, papers that you published, and you have in your resume, it says peer reviewed. So that's just what we were talking about, right?
That's right.
All right. Using the moral situational action model of extremist violence to assess fluctuating levels of risk in women, the relevance of risk promotive and protective factors. What does that mean, levels of risk in women with extremist violence?
Oh my God, dude. Answer the fucking question. You
Looking at
wrote it.
Risk assessment in terms of
You don't have to
violence
think
and
about
what
it.
may be mitigating factors. In other words, decreasing the risk or the threat, or increasing, that would be enhancing factors. But this is looking at a group in terms of research.
Exactly.
And it's research about women that are involved with extremist violence?
Yes.
Okay. Assessing,
Jesus.
it's right there. Using the moral situational action violence risk model for assessing women
Okay,
involved.
he's basically
racial
going to
and-
go through a bunch of the papers that he's
You will.
written.
Oh.
None of them have anything
What's
to
that?
do with postpartum psychosis.
It's
Although
just-
this
I mean,
guy
you come to one that deals
probably,
with,
I think this guy also believes that postpartum psychosis isn't a real thing because it's not in the DSM.
radicalization of women.
Okay, we're still going through over his articles.
About extremism, terrors, you
Okay. Let's talk about Lindsay.
in a prison that you were
No.
in court.
Still talking
My
about.
career,
What did
men
you-
and women.
What did you just say? Can you repeat that again? You're treating women with what?
Treating women with psychiatric problems, serious illness, psychosis.
So when you defined for the district attorney the concept of, let's say, psychosis yesterday, were you referring in any degree to a woman who has had a baby and is in a period of postpartum depression, shall we say?
Yes.
Okay. And when and how were you treating those people?
That's not me
That was
tooting.
during the period
I am not Farchado.
of 15 years when I ran a unit of men and women who came in with serious psychiatric symptoms.
So what would you do? Would you analyze them? Would you talk to them, counsel them? What would you do while they're in the hospital?
Well, do a full assessment with a multidisciplinary team and make determinations about proper treatment, proper therapy, medications, and the like to treat the symptoms.
And generally, what would the symptoms be, sir, in your experience?
Symptoms of postpartum depression. Okay. Well, certainly within that period of time around birth or after birth, the DSM
Post-birth
has a
period, if
4-week
you will.
period. Others expand that to as much as a year.
Okay.
But certainly,
Did you just hear what he
depressive-
just said? So the DSM says only 4 weeks.
after birth. The DSM has a 4-week period. Others expand that to as much as a year.
The ICD.
But certainly depressive symptoms postpartum are similar to the symptoms that you see in a regular depression. You can have suicidality, you can have guilt, changes in appetite, changes in weight, changes in concentration, changes in physical activity. You can also have significant problems with sleep, either sleeping too much or not enough. So these are depressive symptoms that come in the postpartum period and require assessment and treatment.
Are you aware, sir, in your practice or studies of the number of women that commit suicide during the postpartum period? Are you aware of that?
I can't quote you a figure.
Do you have any clue at all?
No.
No.
would you agree with me, sir, that one of the unfortunate components of a woman who has had a baby and is suffering from postpartum depression and living with it, that can, on a dime, turn into postpartum psychosis? Very
On a
quickly,
dime.
right?
It can be rapid.
Thank you.
And you indicated, sir, that there, according to the DSM, is a 4-week cutoff for symptomology. And then you mentioned that there are others. Is it the World Health Organization that you said that talks about a year?
Correct.
There are some other psychiatric organizations that talk about different periods of time, 6 weeks, 8 weeks, right?
Correct.
So when a woman is dealing with these symptoms and goes to a doctor, or even you, when you're treating, as you indicated 15, 20 years ago, you're treating, is it important to take a blood test?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
I'm sorry, my bad. Is it important to take a blood
My
test?
bad.
Is it important to take a blood test?
Yeah, you just went through the whole thing about we're going to have the team and they're going to evaluate and we're going to prescribe. I'm just asking, is it important to take a blood test of the patient?
It can be,
Based on what?
based on the presenting symptoms, based on the history, based on medical history. For example, if someone has recently been in a hospital and been treated, there may not be a necessity for drawing blood again, depending on the types of symptoms that you encounter. It's not a standard that everyone who presents to a psychiatrist requires blood tests.
So if you're a psychiatrist who's been practicing private practice for about, I don't know, a month, maybe 2, and is prescribing antipsychotic medications, selective serotonin reuptake
Tufts.
inhibitor
He's talking about
medications,
Tufts.
benzodiazepine medications to a young woman who is complaining of what the young woman perceives to be difficulties postpartum. Is it important to take a blood test to find out what, if any, prescription drugs they have on board in their system?
To check and find out, did you say what drugs are on board?
Yeah, I mean, you're treating this patient, right? And they're coming off the, hypothetically with you, but they're coming off the street to see a psychiatrist for help, right?
Yes.
And if they're already been prescribed drug after drug after drug by a particular doctor with their 2 months of robust experience, is it a fair statement that you should take a blood test of that person?
Well, it really depends on the medication. There are some medications that really require blood tests because of levels and like many psychotropic medications are not easily, there's not an easy test for the amount of medication in the system. So it depends on the circumstances and it depends on the medication. I mean, for example, lithium or carbamazepine or valproic acid, those are all mood stabilizers. Certainly taking a blood test would be very important. So it depends.
Depends. Can I just ask you to spell those 2 drugs that you just pronounced with the stenographer, please?
Carbamazepine.
Yeah.
CARBAMEZAPINE.
Okay.
Valproic acid, VALPROIC acid, also known as valproate, VALPROATE. And did I mention lithium?
That's not a hard one. I just
We know
reckon it
how
has
to
be
spell
accurate, that's all.
lithium,
Understood.
douchebag.
Okay. Now, doctor, are there other tests in your experience that are or can be or should be administered to a young woman or a
All right,
woman
we've
who's
gone
had a baby
over a
and is coming
lot
to
of this stuff.
of
He's
their
going to say a
postpartum
lot of the same
depressions, right?
things.
Yes, it can.
the Edinburgh scale off the charts
Okay,
or
Edinburgh
serious
scale.
trouble, who is on medication as we went through. The antipsychotic drug, prescription drug is
I
called
wanna get
10. Oh, the
to-
person who's suffering from serious insomnia can actually lead to psychosis, can it not?
Yes, it's possible.
You're aware that while she's living in her house with her husband, Pat, and their 3 kids, that by all accounts, she was a happy mother, wife, friend, daughter, all of the above, right?
No.
So as the summer progressed, is it your understanding from Dr. Sadoff's investigation in this case that Lindsay Clancy and her husband, Pat, and their kids during the summer of 22 were not living their best life, enjoying life?
The summer was very good from Callan's birth really through much of August. Through the time that Patrick Clancy was at home, that first 12 weeks was really quite good.
And then it went sideways.
He was
right?
home after the 12 weeks because he had an
Having
office in the
some
basement.
Concern about anxiety, right?
She did.
That brought her to Dr. Tufts' office. Oh, brought her to talk to Dr. Tufts on the telemedicine, right?
Correct.
And then she started getting her prescriptions, such as the SSRI at 25, SSRI increased to 50, 48 hours without sleep, went back to Dr. Tufts, more medications prescribed, right?
Yes.
Was she in rough shape in October of 2022 after dealing with Tufts for about 3 weeks?
In rough shape. I don't know what you mean by rough shape.
She was certainly having difficulty. Although the Benadryl and the Ativan were very helpful for sleep.
Okay. I'm just going to grab this item here.
Oh, whiteboard.
In your investigation, you did look at the text messages and all the stuff that was on Lindsay's phone.
Yes,
Her life was pretty much turned inside out, right? I mean, government got access to every text message she sent, right?
Yep.
yes,
Every email that she sent, right?
yes,
Every memo that she wrote on her phone or on her computer or whatever, right?
Yep.
yes,
Every journal entry that she ever wrote during this period of time. We have it all, don't we?
yes.
And in October 20th, sir, did you see this text where she texted her mother and said, "Mom, will you please come up and stay with me a bit? I'm really sick. Something's wrong. I had horrible insomnia all night. I just don't know how I'm going to get through the day. I started taking medicine the doctor prescribed for anxiety, and I think it's made things worse. It's just really scary. And I don't." Did you see that?
Yes,
So she wasn't doing well in October, was she?
correct.
He's just throwing shit around. I love him.
Right?
Yes.
Gelada, right?
Nurse practitioner Paul and then Gelada, yes.
Okay. Now, in your investigation of the medical records, would you agree with me that Lindsay was not running around from doctor to doctor to try to physician shop to try to get drugs so that she could get high or use the drugs? That's not what she was doing, was it?
Ms. Clancy expressed
Jesus.
concerns that she was
Guys,
not following a plan.
this is on. Look at what I have this on. It's on 1.7. And his pauses are still lasting like 5 seconds. Okay.
That
Okay, it's
it
fine. I
would
can
be-
do this. I
would
can
have
do
been better
this.
for
I
her
can do
had
hard
she
things.
tried to stick with a plan.
Is that one sentence in all of the medical records where it makes reference to the fact that she said something like,
By the way, we're going on like 5 or 6 hours today. I don't know how long it's been. 2 different days of this trial. If you guys like the coverage and like the conversation and like the work that I'm doing, please, please, please don't forget to like this video. And if you feel so inclined, please send over some Cluck Cash or a tip, which is what Cluck Cash is. And of course, I'll read your messages. I think I got some tips last night that I needed to read out. Let me do that. Let me take a little break from this guy for a second and read out some Cluck Cash tips. Oh, man. I'm telling you, this guy. Oh, okay. Transactions. Yesterday was the 25th. Nancy. Did I say thank you to Nancy? Hold on. I gotta look at my, Okay. Nancy sent over $20. Thank you for the tip, Nancy. We really appreciate it. And they said 20 for day 20, meaning day 20 of the trial. Also, Jerry sent over $5 and said Cluck Cash because I say Deaver. If you don't know what I'm talking about, basically, Rebecca the other night when we were doing our cross roast and had Kelly Dever on the cross roast tubes, Rebecca said that everybody owes us a $5 Cluck Cash toll if you've said Dever wrong, if you've said Deaver. Jacqueline paid $9.71 for Something's Off. Thank you so much for the $9.71. Sheila paid $20. Thanks for watching. Thank you for the tip, Sheila. And Danielle sent over $25 and said, thanks, Mel. I appreciate y'all. If you feel like sending over some Cluck Cash, all the links are at the top of the screen. Or not links, but all the accounts. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, and there's a QR code for Venmo if you feel like it. If you aren't able to, totally understandable, but please go like the video, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and tell your friends that if they want to watch the trauma-free version of this trial, recaps of this trial, this is the place to be. I know, Bruce, I know that pausing, but I'm just saying, I have him on 1.7 speed, and it's like a 5-second pause at 1.7, which means he is taking like 30 seconds sometimes. And sometimes he does it in between words. He'll say, so the other day I was walking and I got to the car. I mean, it's so hard. It's so hard for somebody who has like a short attention span to watch somebody on the stand like this. It's so difficult for me. Sorry. I know I'm complaining. I'm sorry. I shouldn't be, but I keep thinking I pressed pause when I was watching live. Sorry.
I should have stuck with the plan? Is that what you're referring to?
Yes.
Okay. My question, sir, was, Dr. Tufts, Dr. Paul, Dr. Gelada.
Nurse practitioner Paul and
I
July.
apologize again. That's
Sorry.
my bad. Nurse practitioner Gelada. Up to that point, bringing us into November. These
Everybody
people
always
and
corrects
other
him.
Emergency room visits that she had. She was not going out looking to score drugs off of drug prescriptions. Is that fair?
Correct.
And she, in fact, looked up Tufts, but she didn't even know who Tufts was. She went online and Googled postpartum depression and found an expert. Isn't that right?
That's my understanding.
But she was only practicing for like a month or two. Was she, in your opinion, to a reasonable degree of psychiatric certainty, an expert?
Objection.
Overruled.
It depends on the amount of training that she received, not just as a physician and a resident, but also in the area of women's health.
So the young lady goes online, Googles, trying to get help, goes to see the expert, Dr. Tufts, ultimately deals with nurse practitioner, Gelada, and counselor that worked in that medical field business, Letitia Dukes, I believe is her name.
Right.
And then she had the need to go to an emergency room. Went to Mass General Hospital, right?
That's right.
And she was with her husband, Pat, right?
Correct.
And she had been complaining about lack of sleep, insomnia, right?
Yes, as I understand.
She had been complaining about inability to emote, feeling hollow, not myself, right?
Correct.
And a number of other complaints that were brought to the fore. And the hospital made a recommendation that she go to McLean Hospital, which is a locked ward mental institution in Massachusetts, and she chose not to do that, correct?
That's right.
So then what she did is went back to her home and immediately hooked up again, if you will, with Tufts, right?
That's right.
In December, one of the people at the South Shore perinatal unit advised her to go to a hospital that specializes in postpartum women. That would be Women and Infants Hospital in Rhode Island, right?
Here we go.
That's right.
And she went there, like the next day, right after they called, right?
Yes, I think they fit her in pretty quickly. Was it maybe the 20th of December?
And her husband dropped her off for that day program, right?
That's right.
And she participated with the coloring, with the conferences, or with the discussions, and evaluations with the doctor, right?
The coloring
For about 8 hours. It was about an
cracks
8 hour
me
day,
up when he
right?
does that.
Something like that.
And on that day,
Some like
in
that.
December 20th, she was turned away, basically, right?
Yes.
I don't know that I
Yes.
would term it turned away.
Did they
She
help her?
was.
Dr. Diaz's notes, but
Did they help her?
pardon me.
Did they help her?
She was
They
turned
felt
away.
that another program might be more appropriate. Either,
really gonna parse out the words
inpatient or
turned
partial
away?
hospitalization, or outpatient, just based upon her concerns about medication.
Her
And
concerns about
the
medication.
symptomology of postpartum depression, right? That's why she was there,
She was having depressive symptoms, yes.
right? And that's in addition to, or
Do you see what he
everybody wants
just
to say
did there?
GAD, general anxiety, depression.
Yep.
This woman was there for treatment.
Kevin
Or
Reddington, he's so
postpartum
whip
depression,
smart.
right?
He's whip smart.
She was there for treatment of depression. I was under the impression that most of the women who were in that program were much closer to had given birth to their children. And so
Who gives a
in that
fuck?
respect, it was not the group that they served were much closer to that postpartum period, as I understand.
You're not going to say to this jury
Uh-oh.
that because LINDSAY was outside of the, let's say, 4-month cutoff,
For week.
she was not a good
For
candidate
week.
postpartum
For week.
depression treatment? Is that what you told the jury?
For week.
No,
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I thought you said because of the time frame from giving birth to the time that she went to see them.
I was just speaking about my understanding from the note from Women and Infants in terms of their decision making.
Okay. And Women and Infants basically discharged her after about 8 hours, right?
Yes,
And her husband was up skiing, and then she contacted him, and he had to come down and pick her up and bring her home, right?
that's right.
And the reason that she was discharged from Infants Hospital in Rhode Island included a statement, RO, rule out issues regarding prescription medications, correct?
Yes,
Yes.
that's my recollection.
And she indicated that she was going to go right back to Tufts, right?
Yes,
And she did, didn't she?
Yes.
yes, as I understand.
And would you agree, sir, that every time a doctor said to Lindsay to do something, whether it was to make an appointment somewhere, whether it was to take another drug, any advice, that she was on it immediately? Is that fair?
Oh my God.
She attended her appointments. Yes,
Well, not just that, she attended them right away. She was told, for example, at McLean, you read those records, that she should hook up with her provider, and she did the very next day, right?
yes,
Okay. So she wasn't avoiding
I can
seeing
answer that
healthcare
question. Yes.
professionals, was she?
no,
And she was continuing to express.
Okay. So this goes on for a bit, basically regurgitating everything we already know. He agrees with the other two experts on some things and doesn't agree on other things. And hold on, Aspire.
And she called us. Why would she call Aspire again if they wouldn't help her the first time? In your opinion, as a psychiatrist.
The
for help.
Aspire, keep in mind, is the suicide hotline.
continuing to seek help.
And yet again, she didn't get any, did she?
That's my understanding.
To a reasonable degree of psychiatric certainty with treating the patients to the extent that you've told this jury that you have, what kind of a devastating effect would that have on a person who's ready to kill themselves that's called Aspire hotline twice and has been turned away?
Objection.
Overruled.
It could
Thank
have
you.
a very serious effect.
And
Yeah.
after being discharged from Women and Infants Hospital and reaching out to Aspire, you'd agree with me that one of the concerns that the doctor at Women's Hospital in Rhode Island had is the medication that she had been prescribed by top-end nurse practitioner Gelada, right?
Correct.
And that's one of the reasons that they could not treat her. It wasn't just that, no, we don't think that you're postpartum depressed. We just think that there's a complicated overlay involving the medications that you've been prescribed, right?
Yes.
And these medications obviously included selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, right?
Yes. Prozac and Zoloft.
Right. And one of the things that a doctor would be concerned about, especially with a woman who's had a baby and has stopped breastfeeding the baby, is the effect
Hormones.
that may have on the woman, physically, mentally, emotionally. Stop breastfeeding a baby, right?
Yes.
And you've heard of gamma aminal butyric acid, otherwise known as GABA, right?
Yes.
And can you tell us, please, what that is, sir?
I'm sorry.
Can you tell us, please, what that is, sir? What is GABA?
I believe that you're referring to Lyrica.
No, I'm asking about the actual acid in the person's system, their blood, that is gamma amina, bulyc acid. It's got nothing to do with lamictal. It's got nothing to do with Seroquel. It's got nothing to do with the drug industry. This is in the body. When a woman stops lactating, a woman stops breastfeeding.
Yes.
There is a physical effect on the person, the body, right?
Yes.
What is that effect?
Get him red.
It depends on the individual. There's variable responses postpartum, and as I understand,
What a dud
she
to
stopped
end on.
breastfeeding around by October 21st or so, when the Ativan started.
When
To
the
agree with you, sir, that
Ativan
the
was
GABA,
started.
make it easier to type, is basically affects, its primary effect is on the neurotransmitters in the brain, right?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds pretty complicated. Neurotransmitters, I mean, is that like where you have a spark plug on a motorcycle and you can actually gap it and get it to kick over?
Motorcycle.
It's a neurotransmitter in the brain, that sounds like it.
Well, yeah, it's more complicated than that.
I figured.
Obviously.
But nevertheless, it's still basically, you're talking about the actual organic matter of the brain, right?
Yes.
And would you agree, sir, that when a woman is pregnant, that there are progesterone hormone surges during that pregnancy?
Yep.
Yes, there are hormonal changes.
It doesn't, the
Big
hormone
ones.
doesn't just change, it can actually surge and it can be quite impactful to the
Yes.
person, right?
Yes.
And would you agree with me, sir, that one of the metabolites of progesterone
I know,
which has
Dot.
been unleashed when a person
He
woman
goes
is
to
pregnant
bike week.
with the progesterone hormone surging through their body, that you have a metabolite that actually enhances or increases the GABA activity of the neurons in the brain, right?
It can, yes.
And what is that metabolite, sir, that increases that activity in the very organ of the brain?
I can't tell you.
Is it a allopregnanolone? If you know?
No.
No, it's not, or no, you don't know?
I don't know.
Immediately after a woman has a baby, would you agree, sir, that the progesterone that we just talked about and the allopregnanolone that you don't know about drops precipitously, according to the medical treatises, right?
If he knows, you answer.
Yes.
And what does that mean, sir? Tell me when it says
Yeah,
that
sure.
the progesterone and the allopregnanolone in the body drops precipitously. What does that mean, precipitously?
That means rapidly.
And a sudden drop, sir, you would agree would cause, as a significant potential of causing serious GABA dysfunction, right?
That certainly would be possible.
Do you know that, or you're just agreeing with me?
Just agreeing with you.
I'm agreeing with you.
Okay. Do you want to keep going?
Do you want
I
to
don't care.
keep?
I'm just saying that.
Do you want to keep going? You want to keep going with this, Drudge? What do you want to do here? Ofo show. This is really funny. A really funny image to me. Do you think he takes his Harley to pick up his enormous chocks from the printer? I think that would become a road hazard. You know what I wish he did do, though? I wish he had a backpack with a little dog in it that had a little riding helmet and goggles. That would make me very happy if Red did that. All right, so they take a break, and they come back, and we keep going with this. And I am going to take a quick break to use the bathroom. We'll be right back.
Recall that question when we broke off talking about
Yes.
the gamma? And you're familiar with the concept in that regard, talking about the gamma aminal butyric acid and its effect on the progesterone and its effect on the brain synapses. It's referred to as breaks, B-R-E-A-K-S. You've heard of that term, right?
No.
You aware, sir, that when you get to the point where you have that precipitous drop in the progesterone and the allopregnanolone dropping precipitously, that in fact it constitutes and causes significant neurotransmitter malfunction, referred to as broken brakes.
I'm not familiar with that term.
Can you tell me what a neurotransmitter in the brain is?
You're asking what is a neurotransmitter?
Sure. I don't know.
Neurotransmitters function in the brain and have responsibility for not only aspects of mood, but also psychosis. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter that is significant in terms of psychosis when it's too high. We need it. And the neurotransmitters function in a number of different ways, a number of different pathways. When we think about psychiatry, we really think about the mesolimbic pathway and not just dopamine, but also serotonin, norepinephrine. And so depending on the disorder, there are different medications that can be helpful in treating those disorders. So really, from the standpoint of psychiatric illness and brain dysfunction, medication can be very helpful in regulating the neurotransmitters and difficulties.
Have you heard of the broken brakes hypothesis as it relates to the impact of the precipitous drop of progesterone in the enhancement of the GABA activity? Have you heard of that concept?
No.
Would you agree, sir, that when a woman is in that position of the precipitous drop of the progesterone after ceasing the breastfeeding activity, the enhancement with the GABA,
You mean prolactin?
prolactin, the enhancement of the GABA activity, that would be a dysfunction in the brain, right?
Certainly, mood symptoms can be significant.
Would you agree, sir, that the dysfunction in the brain caused by those two items is consistent with intrusive and hard to control thoughts and highly impulsive, uncontrollable behavior? Would you agree with that?
I would say that's possible.
And that would relate to the capacity of a person to conform their conduct. If, in fact, because of the GABA and the progesterone and all that we just talked about, the intrusive, hard to control thoughts and highly impulsive, uncontrollable behavior would address itself to the issue of capacity to conform one's conduct, right?
No, it depends on the timing. If you're talking,
Is the answer no?
Okay. We're gonna skip through a little bit of this because none of it really matters.
Federal says you testified yesterday, right?
yes,
And you told the jurors that one of the things that was of interest to you is the fact that there was a glass or a wine mug or something that had
This is what I wanted to get to because we talked about this in the last show, the one I did this morning. Because I've been doing this since 8 a.m. We talked about this last show, how this guy said that this is why I was like, he's never humaned before. He doesn't know how to human. He talked about how labor intensive it is to crush pills. The pills that were left in the wine tumbler that said because kids, the one that had the lemonade in it, at least we think it did. We don't know for sure because the cops never tested it. He's just going off of what Lindsay told him and what Patrick told him. But he also said he wasn't sure how she crushed up the meds and put them in there, even though we can see residue all over the cup. The whole thing is so stupid, but because the prosecution, like, for some reason hammered this point home to no avail, Kevin's got to, like, combat it. And I think he does a great job here. He basically is saying all the things that I was saying, I think.
that had crushed narcotics or I think you used the word
Narcotics.
antipsychotic drugs crushed up inside
Oh,
the cup. Do you
P.S.
remember that?
Hold on.
yes,
Okay.
wine tumbler.
Ah,
How do you know they were in?
Jill. Thanks for the $10 tip, Jill. Thanks for the cluck cash. Your liquid fuel. Thank you. I'm on like cup 5 or 6 of coffee today. I've been drinking electrolytes. I'm fading fast here, but we got a little ways to go. The charge conference comes after this, so we're going to see what happens there.
They were antipsychotic drugs.
I don't recall saying that they were antipsychotic drugs.
Oh, did you say they were drugs?
I thought I said medications.
Medications. All right, so drugs, medications, and they were crushed up.
There was evidence of powder on the tumbler that Patrick told me about, and I went back and looked more closely at the
Thanks,
photographs and saw that.
Did you look more closely at the NMS laboratory or the State Police Crime Laboratory or any testing that was done on the powder?
Yes,
And was there a report that said that indeed it was crushed up medication?
they wouldn't.
I mean, there is-
They didn't indicate whether or not they were pills or
Did they ever, I'm going to ask about pills or powder. Did they ever test the residue?
not that I'm aware of.
No,
So how do we know that that's even drugs or medications, whatever word you want to use?
right. We don't.
It was Patrick Clancy's observation.
So basically, when you're testifying, sir, and you're waxing on about all of the facts of the case that you took into
Thank
consideration
you.
prior to your opinion for the DA in this
Thank
case,
you.
you're getting a lot of it from Patrick. Is that right?
That aspect he brought up to me. Yes,
Okay. So the crushing of the pills, was there a pill crusher found in the bedroom?
not that I'm aware of.
Was there any residue found anywhere in the bedroom?
Not that I'm aware of.
So if someone's in a psychotic state and they're going to kill themselves and they're taking the pills, yesterday you said a fistful of pills, and then the DA said, after painful questioning, that they were crushed. You agreed that they were crushed. Wouldn't there be a residue?
He's got to get a dig in.
residue.
I love it.
Yes,
Was there a residue on the
A
table? or the nightstand, anywhere?
painful
not that I saw.
So there's no pill crusher, right?
questioning.
Not that I saw.
There's no investigation by the police to determine what was in that powder, right?
Nope.
Not that I'm aware of.
There's no indication that there's any residue on or in the actual nightstand next to the bed, right?
Nope.
Not that I'm aware of.
Does it seem appropriate, sir, that a person would be in a psychotic state after slashing their wrist and slicing their throat and ready to propel themselves out a window would neatly put the bottles into the drawer of the nightstand?
The
Or would
drawer.
just scatter them around the bedroom floor? Not
Are
carry.
they in the drawer? They're in the drawer.
I'm not aware of the exact sequence of the events. In
Well,
terms
if I
of,
tell you, sir, that a couple of days after this incident, I went into the home with Patrick, and I was able to locate in the bedroom, right next to the bed, with all the blood all over the place, this
Oh, God.
drawer, and inside this drawer,
This
would be a lot of
drawer.
medication bottles. Does that refresh your memory
He's
on your
getting
investigation
pissy.
as to what happened to the bottles? They're all empty.
Yes.
Okay, so how did they get in the
This
drawer?
drawer.
how did they get in the drawer? I don't know.
You can fingerprint them, right? Did anybody do any testing at all in this investigation?
No.
If you know, you told the jury yesterday you read all this stuff, grand jury minutes, police reports, lots of witnesses.
Yeah, I did not read that.
Is it your understanding, sir, that a person can be in a state of psychosis and I guess misremember something?
Sure.
Yes,
Or have a false memory?
it's possible.
Did Lindsay tell you that she slashed the screen with the big turkey knife?
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, did she tell you
Turkey
that she
knife.
slashed the screen with a knife before she went out the window?
Yes, that's what she told me.
But the screen wasn't slashed, was it?
Oh.
Do you think she was malingering and lying to you at that point, sir, when she told you that?
No.
Because one of the things you told this jury is that what stood out to you is I think you made reference to the fact that Lindsay betrayed her family by misleading her family.
Oof.
Remember saying that to this jury yesterday, sir?
Oof.
Portrayed?
Betrayed is what you said.
No, I said portrayed.
So Lindsay portrayed and misled her family is what you said to the jury?
Yes.
How'd she mislead her family?
What? Portrayed and misled?
Well, in text messages, for example, in the days prior to the event,
The
her
fuck?
parents had visited over that weekend, and the communications that she was providing did not give a sense of her state of mind regarding suicidality.
Yeah, is that
In their house,
that's not a
the
normal
house,
thing for
they
people to
stayed at
do?
the house, didn't they?
Yes.
Why did they stay at the house?
I'm sorry.
Why did they stay at the house?
They were visiting,
They were staying at the house. They weren't just visiting.
Objection.
Overruled.
Sleep over?
as I understand.
Okay, as you understand. How long did they stay at the house and sleep over?
I think they came up for that weekend. They weren't there constantly.
No.
They came back and forth.
Back and forth. Well, they
Yeah.
stayed about 4 days, 3 nights. They stayed continuously and stayed at the Clancy home. You knew that from your investigation, right?
Yes,
Evaluation.
that's
Yes.
my question.
The answer is yes, right?
Yes.
Okay. So they're staying at the same time. You're telling this jury that she's sending text messages basically saying, I'm okay, I guess. Is that right?
Following their departure, there were the photographs that Lindsay Clancy sent to her mother.
She didn't send a mother photograph showing that she was smiling and happy with her family, did she?
I think there was a photograph of her and the children by the snowman.
No. Is that a bad thing to do that and send a picture of you with your kids making a snowman to your parents?
No,
Is that something, in your opinion, Dr. Syroff's opinion for the district attorney, that a person who is involved with postpartum psychosis, postpartum depression, wouldn't take a picture of the snowman for their kids, send it to their mother?
given the prior text that you showed to her mother in terms of being in terrible distress, that she was able to do that. That was
How?
not what
I
happened
can't-
when she
I
sent the
can't.
picture with her children, the snowman, and so did not raise concerns
tedious.
from the mother, as I understand.
Did you talk to the mother?
Pardon me?
Did you talk to the mother?
No, I tried to.
Here it comes.
Did you review police reports or statements? You tried to? Why'd you do that? Would you call her up and say, I want to talk to you?
No,
Did the
Miss,
district attorney call him up?
I asked Miss Clancy who would be good for me to speak with, and she said her husband and her family.
Okay. So based on that, what did you do?
I contacted the district attorney, and I
Which one of these two?
Ms. Sprague.
Uh-oh.
Ms. Sprague. Okay. You spoke to Jen Sprague. And what did you say?
Attorney Sprague.
Was it?
Attorney Sprague.
You spoke to Jen Sprague. And what did she tell you?
Attorney Sprague.
She told me that she would reach out and attempt to see if I could.
Oh, did you
interview,
guys hear that?
Mr. Clancy.
You reached out and you talked to Jen Sprague, and she said, Attorney Sprague. And he said, what? And she said, Attorney Sprague. And he said, you reached out to Jen Sprague, and then Sprague and the judge said, attorney. It's so petty. It's so stupid. God.
And what did you
Attorney
say?
Sprague.
Was it?
Attorney Sprague.
Hold on.
And I,
Which one of these two?
Ms. Sprague.
Ms. Sprague. Okay. You spoke to Jen Sprague.
Frack.
And what did you
Attorney
say?
Sprague.
Was it?
Attorney Sprague.
You spoke to Jen Sprague. And what did she tell you?
Attorney Sprague.
She told me that she would reach out and attempt to
So petty.
see if I could.
Oh my God. Frickin' frack. Attorney Sprague. Attorney. We know you're an attorney. Your name is Jen. Come get over it. Ugh, this is like everybody, all the doctors on the witness stand correcting him when he calls Gelada a doctor instead of a nurse. Like, I'm a doctor. She's a nurse. Get it straight. Yeah. Oh, is she an attorney? We didn't notice. Oh, by the way, Lady Harlot, you're so sweet. Thank you for the $20 super chat. For Mel, our human shield, vessel of rage, and voice of reason in this case, couldn't have followed this case without you. Thank you for being here, and thank you for saying that. Very, very, very sweet of you. And I appreciate you. Make me laugh every day, so thank you for being here.
To Mr. Clancy and Ms. Clancy's family.
Okay. So did you do that? Did you reach out to her mother?
Did I reach out?
Yeah.
No.
Okay, did someone tell you that she wouldn't speak to you?
Yes.
And when was this, sir? About 2 months ago?
It would have been probably June 5th.
It was August, right?
Pardon me.
It's August. We're in August right now, right?
Yes.
You called to speak to the mother. in
Attorney
June,
Frack.
Right? Yes? Come on.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh.
And when you called the mother, did she say?
I did not call the mother.
Okay.
Oh, he just got to him a little bit. Oh, boy. Here we go. He said, speed it up, bro. Speed it up.
Pardon me.
It's August. We're in August right now, right?
Yes.
You called to speak to the mother in June, right? Yes? Come on.
Yes.
Okay. And when you called the mother, did she say?
I did not call the mother.
Okay, so
I
the
did
answer
not
is you
call
did
the
not call the mother. Who told you that you couldn't talk
We
to the
got
mother?
mad.
Ms. Sprague.
Attorney Sprague, please.
Right. Attorney Sprague.
Now, when Attorney Sprague called you and said you cannot talk to the mother, did it ever occur to you to reach out to me? You're being objective and all.
Oh, my God.
Who told you that you couldn't talk to the mother?
Ms. Sprague.
Attorney Sprague, please.
Right. Attorney Sprague.
Now, when Attorney Sprague called you and said you cannot talk to the mother, did it ever occur
He
to you
is
to reach out to
so-
me? You're being objective and all.
He's so quick-witted. I love him so much.
No.
Did you know, sir, that Lindsay had signed repeatedly every and any HIPAA form that was needed by the DA or the cops to get access to every single medical record that she had? Probably going back to when she was in grammar school.
Attorney Frick has the bow.
You know that?
Attorney Frack is Sprague.
I know she's been open to it, and she told me that she would like for me to speak with them.
Right. And she's been open to pretty much anything and everything that was asked of her as far as signing documents, getting medical records, doing interviews, videotaping, making appointments to talk to guys like Matt
I'm here for his
And Hellman.
pettiness, too,
and
Emily.
you in Tewksbury Hospital, right?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question?
All of your investigations, sir, led up to the fact that
Frickin'
you were going
bow.
to meet
Yeah,
with Lindsay
exactly.
2 months ago, 2 months prior to our beginning this 5-week triple murder trial. Is that fair?
That's true.
And
that
you told
fair?
this jury that you wanted to establish a rapport with this kid?
This
Yes.
kid.
Do you think for 1 minute, when you're trying to put her in jail for her life, that she wants to talk to you and have a rapport?
Next, sustain. Next question.
Did you establish a rapport?
I believe so.
She was cooperative?
Yes.
She was polite?
Yes.
She was pleasant?
Yes. And I asked her at the end if there was any question that I'd asked that made her feel uncomfortable, and she responded in a positive way.
Oh, good.
One of the things that you told the jury is that you felt that she was malingering, or basically lying. I guess you were telling the jury, in your opinion, that she was making stuff up to make herself look like she's crazy when she killed the children. Is that
I
what you
know,
told the jury?
Dana, but it was still funny
didn't
in
use
the
those words.
moment.
No.
I
you're a
need
little more finesse
whatever I
than
can
was.
get.
But nevertheless, sir, you're talking about malingering, right?
Yes, the statements about the auditory
Answer is
hallucination.
yes. Excuse me.
Yes.
The answer is yes. You're talking about malingering is my question. Yes or no, right? That's all?
Yes.
Okay. And when you're talking about malingering, sir, basically that would be when a person finds it in their interest to basically exaggerate or lie to an investigating psychiatrist, right?
Correct.
And that would be because
I completely agree with you, Dana, that even if that female attorney, or even if that attorney who happens to be a woman sucks as much as Sprague, she is an attorney, and this is a courtroom. And I wish that she would have proven how good of an attorney she was by not dragging religion into this case and asking a witness, a victim in this case, if they understand that within their own religion that murdering someone is a mortal sin. I wish she hadn't done that. I would think of her more as an attorney if she hadn't done that.
because it's in their interest, like I want to pretend that I'm crazy so a jury thinks I'm crazy and I don't have to pay for a crime. That would be in a criminal sense, right?
Yes.
Workman's comp cases, a guy gets hurt in a truck and then they end up having interviews by guys like you to make sure to see if in fact
Guys
they're
like
legitimately hurt for a workman's comp claim, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or a civil case, like an auto accident, right?
Yes.
And there are tests that can be administered to people to see from a psychiatrist standpoint whether or not there is objective indicia of the fact that the person is indeed malingering.
Yes.
And what are those tests?
Well, I'm not a neuropsychologist, but there's a test called the SIRS, also the TOMS test of memory. So there are certain only
If somebody is lying or malingering or exaggerating or anything like that, right?
correct.
And you know that Dr. Helbrun administered that very test for Lindsay about, 2 months before you got there, right?
Yes.
Which would be about 4 months from now when we stand out, right?
Something like that.
And
Oh,
you
they
agree,
both
sir, that
did it,
even though
guys.
It would have been perhaps better to actually
They both
maybe-
did it. So attorney, let's see. Frick is the one who asked about mortal sin. You're right. The other one, Frack, is the one who led their expert witness yesterday into the mortal sin comment again. No, I'm not saying anything against you, Dana. I just can't with this attorney. You know what I mean? I'm sure you do. I'm sure it sucks, and I'm sure like old white dudes do it all the time. And I'm sure if I were Jen Sprague, I would have taken offense as well, and I would have said attorney as well. I completely get it. I just need to laugh sometimes.
Lindsay, within the first 6 months after the incident, or a year even, or maybe even 2 years. But nevertheless, it still has reliability and validity, does it not, when it's administered to her?
The MPI does, yes.
Okay. And you know, sir, that she, in fact, had no impact on the scales at all, with the exception of likelihood of suicide.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Indicating that, as far as that test that was administered to her by Dr. Helbron, did not have any evidence at all. This kid was lying, exaggerated, suppressing anything. She was being truthful, right?
Overall.
About the questions that were on the MPI, yes.
And those questions, sir, pertain to personality traits, they pertain to her recollection, they pertain to all of the investigation that Helbron was conducting, right?
Love you back, Dana.
No.
Okay. So
Okay.
when the tests were administered and the results were provided, would you agree with me, yes or no, that specifically the test indicated that she was not malingering?
Yes,
Okay.
correct.
You mentioned one of the
She
other
wasn't
things that you
lying.
were oh, by the way, would you agree with me that Dr. Philip Resnick, as you indicated, is like a world-renowned person on filicide, or the killing of your children? He's also a person that is in the forefront pretty much worldwide on malingering, right?
Yes, he has written about that.
He's done more than write about it. He's basically given hundreds of lectures and many,
An
many
expert.
treatises. He's all about people that lie to psychiatrists to try to get away with something, right? Right?
Yes.
Okay. And you know, sir, that Dr. Resnick examined
Okay.
Lindsay, and one of the first things that he did was determine whether or not, in his opinion, she was malingering, lying, suppressing, exaggerating. Or
I'm
doing
going to go
anything.
ahead and go with what Resnick says
Yes.
on this
In
one.
his opinion, sir, when you read his report after all the testing, his examination, is that she was not lying to him at all. Isn't that right?
Yes.
One of the things that you referenced, sir, was you felt that Lindsay was lying about standing at the refrigerator and making chicken McNuggets or whatever and carrots or peas or something. And you felt that that wasn't right because the child had already had a bowl and was eating, I think you told the jury, chicken nuggets and vegetables or something like that.
Green beans.
Green beans. Have you looked at the photograph, sir, that's in evidence in this case about that bowl?
Quite some time ago.
Does that show any residue of chicken nuggets or green beans in the bowl?
Not that I recall.
No, it shows like sliced up residue of a cucumber, possibly a carrot, like vegetables, right?
Not that I recall.
So there are 3 kids, one of which is an infant who obviously pretty recently got finished breastfeeding, is on the bottle, so he's not going to eat chicken McNuggets, right?
Right.
So we have 2 young children that have to be fed, correct?
Yes.
You have 2 young children that Lindsay indicated that she was at the refrigerator getting the chicken and the vegetables so that she could feed the kids, correct?
Yes.
Told you that she would not give the kids chicken McNuggets and vegetables in a bowl, that she would have a plate, right?
Not necessarily.
So when she was at the refrigerator, sir, it's your understanding that she was not being truthful? Telling you that? Is that what you're telling the jury?
I think what I said was very inconsistent with what she had told Dr. Spinelli.
So when she's at the refrigerator and telling you, your interview, I know you imported Dr. Spinelli's report, you imported Dr. Resnick's report, you imported Dr. Zeisel's report.
All of their
When
witnesses.
you were talking to Lindsay, did she tell you she was getting food for the kids out of the fridge?
That's my recollection.
Now, with all of the understanding in your testimony, sir, about the voices, correct me if I'm wrong. You're telling this jury, in Dr. Satov's opinion, based on your experience and all of your writings and everything, that when one hears voices, they would be internal or external? To be legit.
To be
They
legit.
can be either.
Really? I'm sorry. I thought you said that they had to be a particular type, like not internal. If they're internal, they're probably lying. But that's not true. I'm wrong.
The voice that Ms. Clancy told me about during the time of this event, she said was external.
Okay. And is that consistent with your understanding, sir, of the research on auditory hallucinations?
The nuggets are back.
Well, some auditory hallucinations can be internal
So,
for people who are psychotic.
and you were aware, sir, that Philip Resnick, Dr. Resnick, did publish the article in the International Journal of Law and Psychiatry in 2014 in conjunction with Simon McCarthy-Jones. You're aware of that
Yes.
treatise? Yes. And would you agree with me, sir, that in fact, just if some doctors might feel that hallucinations auditory must
Hashtag
originate from
Nuggygate.
the exterior as opposed to interior? Would you agree, sir, that in this article, claim number 1, doctors may say voices are typically heard as coming from inside the head, with the corollary that voices heard as coming from outside the head are atypical? Do you agree with that?
That was not my recollection of the research that
Okay.
I understood that it was a minority of,
No, excuse me.
Oh, no. You don't get to interpret the data.
I'm going to approach you with the article.
You don't get to interpret the article that you haven't read.
It was quite some time ago. Sure. So, you can share that?
you want me to say it?
I want you to share it. The radio is like- you agree, sir, that it said voices are typically heard. This is a claim number one. In other words, doctors feel voices are typically heard as coming from inside the head with the corollary that voices heard as coming from outside the head are atypical. Did I read that right?
Yes.
Okay. And what does atypical mean?
Atypical means unusual.
And this article is saying that there are psychiatrists that feel that voices heard outside of the head during hallucinations are indeed not legitimate. Is that fair?
That was the old original way of thinking. That was the way it was taught at one time. They had to be external for someone to actually be experiencing psychosis.
Okay, so we agree then, as Dr. Resnick indicates, that the research evidence does not support the claim that internal located voices are emblematic of genuine AVH.
Auditory verbal hallucinations.
And externally located voices are atypical. We cite that particular word, right?
Yes.
For example, that says, the largest study on this question,
McAfee.
Jones, was in 2012. That's what you're referring to as the
Yeah, we're going to skip through this because the audio is so bad.
woman who, as the evidence has shown, is suffering with her medical condition, psychiatric condition, and seeing doctors and being prescribed medications and reaching out to people for help, and suicide hotlines, and people down in Rhode Island and McLean Watt Ward's Institute. If I hold an opening statement, sir, would you agree that in her efforts to maintain control, she, meaning Lindsay, withheld
For the question?
What?
Yeah, if we could approach.
Sure.
For what? Jesus Christ, these two.
was getting hotter, and Lindsay, oh, that you told us as witnesses. Would you agree, sir? Based on your investigation, police reports, statements of witnesses, grand jury, photographs, videos, interviews of Lindsay, review of witness statements, all of that you told us yesterday that you reviewed, that in fact on January 24th of 2023, Lindsay made a calculated decision. She was a woman who no longer liked the life she thought she wanted. It was getting harder and harder for her to
Wow.
control. And when she saw the opportunity to escape, she made the selfish choice to take it and to
Wow.
take Cora, Dawson, and Callan first before attempting to take her own life.
Wow.
Continuing on, sir.
That's
She
from his
chose to
report.
manipulate her providers, seek out a quick and easy fix when she was feeling depressed and anxious, and when she didn't get what she expected,
Or
she
that was
chose
from
the
their
alternate route.
opening.
She would seek a different doctor. She would change medications after days. She disengaged from treatment that she didn't like the plan, and after only 4 months in treatment, she made a choice, a deliberate and intentional decision that she did not want to try anymore. And because no one could take care of her kids the way she wanted them to, she had to take them with her too. Would you agree that the evidence, in your opinion, supports that contention, sir?
No.
Well, there's a lot in that.
Yeah, it is. Do you agree that it would support your contention, sir, or it would not?
I think that statement that you read really minimizes what she was going through.
That was brilliant. Do you see what he just did? That was fucking brilliant. He just took the prosecutor's opening statement detailing what they said Lindsay was, and he got their expert to agree that it was minimizing what she was going through. Oh, Kevin Reddington. Buddy. Let's see that again. And that's why that was what the objection was about. Let's see that one more time. I just want to hear from the actual opening statement. Let's listen to this.
Lindsay, review of witness statements, all of that you told us yesterday.
Sorry, hold on.
Would you agree, sir? Based on your investigation, police reports, statements of witnesses, grand jury, photographs, videos, interviews of Lindsay, review of witness statements, all of that you told us yesterday that you reviewed, that in fact on January 24th of 2023, Lindsay made a calculated decision. She was a woman who no longer liked the life she thought she wanted. It was getting harder and harder for her to control. And when she saw the opportunity to escape, she made the selfish choice to take it and to take Cora, Dawson, and Callan first before attempting to take her own life.
Genius.
Continuing on, sir. She chose to manipulate her providers, seek out a quick and easy fix when she was feeling depressed and anxious, and when she didn't get what she expected, she chose the alternate route. She would seek a different doctor. She would change medications after days. She disengaged from treatment that she didn't like the plan, and after only 4 months in treatment, she made a choice, a deliberate and intentional decision that she did not want to try anymore. And because no one could take care of her kids the way she wanted them to, she had to take them with her too. Would you agree that the evidence, in your opinion, supports that contention, sir?
Well, there's a lot in that.
Yeah, it is. Do you agree that it would support your contention, sir, or it would not?
I think that statement that you read really minimizes what she was going through.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yes. So good.
He said two already.
Sorry, overall. she may
Whoa,
have-
whoa, whoa.
System in treating.
Sorry.
The best treatment that we can provide in the system.
And during the course of your many, many years working in that system and treating these patients, have you treated patients with psychosis?
Yes,
And does that include treating women with psychosis?
yes.
And how often have you done that?
I didn't ask about, you said two. Sorry, overall. she may have.
This is just going through his work again, a fucking again in the prison system.
That are mentioned in the case reports.
Which case reports?
The case report.
This was an interesting moment. She tries to get him to talk about two of the people he wrote about in the case reports, or he looked at in the case reports, and he's very hesitant to talk about them. I can't figure out if it's because he doesn't remember the details or something else. Oh no. The yawning is happening. Okay, here we go.
Psychosis as being one of their symptoms,
Correct.
and then treating the underlying condition and the symptom of psychosis for those women?
Yes,
And you did that for approximately 15 years, correct?
yes.
And you mentioned two specific patients, females that you dealt with postpartum depression or postpartum psychosis. Do you recall
This
that?
is weird.
Yes.
And what did you learn from treating those two patients?
So those are the two patients that are mentioned in the case reports.
Which case reports?
The case report about postpartum
She's
psychosis
nervous.
that was written.
On the medication interaction?
Yes. Are you asking how those patients presented?
Yes.
There were, as I recall, it's been a while since I looked at the paper, but one was
You
an
wrote it,
18-year-old,
bro.
Woman who had delivered her child and had decided not to take.
I do
that she
need
did
a
not
big
want
nap.
to breastfeed. And so in those days, this medication, bromocriptine, also called Parladel, was given. And we found that within, I think, just a couple of days of the time that she was given this medication, she became convinced that she had to kill her child. And I believe that she was experiencing auditory hallucinations. And she was so distressed about that she wanted to kill herself and was suicidal. And that was what
This is a woman
she
who was
brought to our attention.
institutionalized.
In evaluating her, we removed the Parladel, the bromocriptine, and she responded and resolved her symptoms, her psychotic symptoms, and we were able to discharge her back to her family. The other case, I believe, was another female, a bit older, maybe mid-20s, and she was also given this medication and also became psychotic. For her, it was more a manifestation of mania. She was hypersexual with her husband. She, I think, was quite hyper-religious, and she
And
was.
doctor,
Oh.
in terms of her delusions, those were more of religious delusions?
Pardon me?
Her delusions regarding her child were religious delusions?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. And once that medication was removed from that woman, did her symptoms subside?
Yes, I think in that case she was also given. She was
Is she
so
really
disruptive
going
on the
there
ward,
again?
taking her clothes off, et cetera, that she was also given antipsychotic medication for a period of time, and her symptoms resolved.
And going back to the first patient that you described, you said that she had
my God, there's a
voices
fly
instructing her to
here.
harm her child. And was it as a result of her feelings of guilt for about those thoughts and voices that she was suicidal?
Yes,
So she wanted to kill herself instead of killing her children, correct?
yes.
No.
She
You were
got
asked by
this
Attorney
close
Remington about your
to the
curriculum
religion
vitae
line
focusing
again.
in on terrorism, and is that your sole focus? And you said no. What has been your focus over your career?
Well, from the time that I finished my residency, I've been very interested in public psychiatry, and so upon realizing
Okay, he just
the
goes on
seriousness of
about.
mental illness, they don't choose to go into psychiatry. So yesterday,
The onset of postpartum depression and postpartum psychosis, and you had said that the DSM-5 lists postpartum onset within 4 weeks, correct?
correct.
And he asked you about other organizations going up to approximately a year, correct?
That's right.
Are you aware that the World Health Organization has a clinical descriptions and diagnostic requirements for behavioral and neurodevelopmental disorders that has a section on mental and behavioral disorders associated with pregnancy, childbirth, or the purium, P-U-E-R-P-E-R-I-M, which does that mean during or after birth?
Yes.
And that in that section by the World Health Organization, they state that mental and
Objection. She's not going to read that. So he's going to agree with it. You can ask him if he's
Well,
wrong.
let's see the question first, and then I'll assume there'll be an objection.
Hey, watch this.
Are you aware that in that section it states that mental and behavioral disorders associated with pregnancy, childbirth, or the purpurium are syndromes associated with pregnancy or the purpurium commencing within about 6 weeks after delivery?
Objection. Overruled. I'll allow that if you know that. Doctor.
Yes.
And are you also aware that there's a section talking about mental and behavioral disorders associated with pregnancy, childbirth, or the purpurium with psychotic symptoms that says onset of a syndrome involving significant mental and behavioral features occurring during pregnancy or the purpurium, i.e. up to about 6 weeks following delivery, is required for diagnosis?
That's my understanding.
And that's from the World Health Organization, correct?
Yes.
Now, you were asked about whether blood testing would be appropriate for a patient, and you said that it would depend on the history of the patient, the symptoms, and medication. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see anything in the records about LINDSAY CLANCY that would have required blood testing?
No.
You were also asked about thyroid function and how sometimes you might want to test thyroid function in a postpartum woman. Do you recall that?
Yes.
Do you, are you aware that reading from Exhibit 222, I believe, that Ms. Clancy's thyroid levels were checked when she visited the South Shore Hospital emergency room on November 16th, 2022, and her levels were within normal limits.
Yes.
I just moved to submit this page from Exhibit 222 showing the thyroid levels.
Right, so that's in, it's just a follow-up of a sheet that's in, I'll allow that.
And doctor, just for the jury to know, in that page that's just been marked in his exhibit, the thyroid levels would be marked by TSH, correct?
Correct.
You were asked about lamictal.
Stop
and
playing with
the
your
serious
hair.
rash that could occur. You said that the serious rash is rare. How rare is it?
Approximately 1 in 1,000
And
We don't
you
need to
mentioned that
hear about
millions would beware
Lamictal.
of.
We really
at a
don't.
low dose, 25 milligrams, and only gradually moving up. Finally, after a number of weeks, to a dose as much as 200 milligrams, perhaps even more.
This is Lamictal we're still talking
with that
about,
process,
and the rash. I don't know why we're focusing on this.
Very correct.
And do you recall what dose Dr. Tufts wrote the prescription for Ms. Clancy?
Yes,
And what was that?
25 milligrams.
And do you recall from the records whether the plan was, if she were to take it, to titrate in the manner you described?
Correct.
Titrate up.
And
We've already
putting-
talked
putting
about
aside
this.
whether or not someone chooses to take the medication because of a rash, is there any significance to the person, to a patient being prescribed a medication and then not telling that provider that they chose not to take it?
Yes.
And what is that?
Well, it really limits the provider in making other decisions. If a decision is made that a patient's not going to take a certain category of medication, it's helpful to let that provider know. Say, I've decided against it. What are some other alternatives?
Doctor, you were asked about lack of sleep potentially causing psychosis, correct?
Correct.
And sleep was definitely an issue for Ms. Clancy in the fall leading into December of 2022, correct?
Yes.
And looking back to the McLean records, would it be accurate to state that her sleep got progressively better while at McLean?
Yes.
And then directing your memory to the text messages that Ms. Clancy had with her mother from January 7th through January 22nd of 2023, would it be accurate to state that she told her mother she was sleeping better during that time?
Yes.
Defense
Well,
counsel
she
asked
must
you
not be
if,
psychotic then.
if by all the evidence and witnesses that the defendant was a happy wife, mother, daughter, all of that, and you said no. What were you referring to when you said no?
Well, I was thinking about the
This
paper
is
that she filled out on
crazy.
September 12th
Crazy
of
answer.
2022, in which she expressed some of the concerns that she had, significant anxiety, but also, as I
She just went back to the question that Reddington asked him, was she, by all accounts, happy in her life and her marriage until like September 2022? And he said on the stand, no. And Kevin Reddington didn't ask him to expand on that. And so she's allowing him to, and listen to what he says for the reasons why he doesn't think that she was happy in her life.
as I recall, insomnia was a concern of hers. And it was followed up with Jennifer McAllister, who worked with Dr. Tufts. And I think in Ms. McAllister's note, Ms. Clancy mentioned that she had waning confidence in being able to take care of her children as they were growing up. And that, I think, in a note, Dr. Tufts noted that she said that she found that Callan needed more attention, and that as the kids were growing older, that she was finding them more challenging.
Did she give any information did Ms. Clancy give any information about why it was more challenging as the kids got older?
I don't object, this is pretty clear field. Yeah, sustained. It goes beyond
What?
cross.
Way beyond. Thank you.
So, Doctor, defense counsel asked you about Dr. Tufts and her treatment of the defendant and mentioned repeatedly how she'd only been in the practice on her own for a few months. Do you remember that?
Yes.
In reviewing Dr. Tufts' treatment of the defendant and the medications she prescribed and the methods she used in prescribing those medications, did you have any issues or concerns about the approach she took or what she prescribed?
No.
And what were your thoughts about her approach to treating this defendant?
Well, possibly because Dr. Tufts was new and had just come into practice, she was more available. And so I think she was able to
More available.
see
Oh
Ms.
my
Clancy over
God.
video 14
Oh
times.
my God.
And for example, when
This guy's
Ms.
delusional.
Clancy was discharged from McLean,
guy.
the request from McLean was that she needed immediate outpatient follow-up. And so Dr. Tufts arranged it the following day. And so there were some weeks where Dr. Tufts saw Ms. Clancy more than once a week. And I will also say that when Ms. Clancy decided to go to nurse practitioner Paul and then saw Nurse Delata, I think early December, it might have been December 1st, she then went to Dr. Tufts, and Dr. Tufts wrote a note saying that she felt uncomfortable making prescriptions while Ms. Clancy was going to another provider. But in that note, suggested that Lamictal could be helpful. So,
Lamictal. Lamictal is the one that is the inpatient stay where you're treated via IV. It costs $35,000, yada, yada.
Dr. Tufts was very responsive to concerns of Ms. Clancy in terms of seeing her weekly. And
This
saw
is
her on the
some
23rd.
bullshit. If this jury is sitting here going, dude, we heard from Tufts on the witness stand. We're going to go ahead and disagree with you.
Of January, and then had another appointment the next week, and it talked about future treatments,
crazy.
possible treatments, esketamine.
She had more than
as
one
well as
appointment
TMS.
in a week. That's
So,
nuts.
Perhaps the fact that she had just left her residency meant that she could be more responsive to seeing patients quickly, and she did that.
So
Speaking
she's an
specifically
expert.
to the prescribing, prescribing which medications she's prescribed, which doses, what different options she tried. Did you have an opinion based on your training and experience of Dr. Tufts' method with prescriptions?
Yes.
And what was that?
I felt that the prescribing was very reasonable.
How so?
Well, back in 2013, 2014, Ms. Clancy had taken Prozac and SSRI, and it was helpful.
This is crazy.
She also took Wellbutrin and propranolol.
It wasn't
After
helpful.
Dawson was born, Ms.
It wasn't helpful. Where is he getting this information? We've been talking this entire trial about how Lindsay did not want to be on Prozac again. We also talked, I've talked personally about being put on Prozac while in film school and having a psychotic break. And then because of that, they took me right off Prozac and put me on Wellbutrin. It's the exact same thing they did with Lindsay. I'm not saying she had a psychotic break. She obviously had some bad reaction to Prozac because they put her on Wellbutrin next, and it made her feel like a zombie, the same way it made me feel like a zombie. This guy being like, she did well on Prozac, and Tufts saying the same thing is so, or I think it was Gelada who then started pushing Prozac on her again, and she was like, you guys, I don't want to take Prozac. I would have said the same thing. I'd be like, get it away from me. Don't even talk to me about it. It's insane. It's insane. Like, what? He doesn't even know what he's talking about. We've been sitting here for 21 days, and I know that she didn't react well to Prozac.
Ms. Clancy had some significant anxiety and actually went to a doctor and was prescribed Zoloft. So this would have been in 2019, but then decided,
Hey, Charlie.
2019, early 2020, but then decided
Very
not to
sweet
take the
of
Zoloft.
you.
Her anxiety symptoms resolved. It's a difficult time, particularly as she got older because of COVID, but she decided that even though she had the prescription of Zoloft, she decided not to take it. The anxiety that she experienced after Callan's birth was more significant and lasted longer. And so she went to Dr. Tufts, who got a history of Ms. Clancy having taken the Prozac and done well on it, having
No, sir.
seriously considered Zoloft to the extent that she got a prescription for it, decided not to take it.
Why
That
wouldn't,
Zoloft
okay.
had 25 mil.
If she did so well on the Prozac, why didn't she then, right in that moment, if she did so well on it, why didn't Tufts prescribe her the Prozac right then and there? Do you think maybe it's because Lindsay said, I don't want to be on Prozac. I don't do well with Prozac. What? Is he listening to himself? She did well on Prozac. Well, then prescribe her Prozac. Why'd she ever come off of Prozac if she did well on it? What are we talking about? Good God. I shouldn't be this fired up. I shouldn't be. Okay. Hey, Charlie. You're very sweet. Charlie from Australia says, hi, Mel. I just want to say thank you for doing these streams. I couldn't have watched it without you. I appreciate that you're here, Charlie. Spread the word to anybody else who's interested in the trial and wants to watch me rage about these expert witnesses and not talk about horrific things that happen to children.
5 milligrams, which is the lowest dose, starting that, would be a reasonable choice. Really
Going through the meds
press the most
again.
reasonable
Jesus.
days. Yeah,
In that particular,
Overrules.
yes.
and was it reasonable?
Was a
More about the
Benadryl.
meds.
And that was concern
Benadryl.
about
We
on
know
these
she
types
was
of
on
medications.
Benadryl.
And that is a concern treated effectively the
Redirect. I object. We see.
Okay, wait.
in a note
Excuse me, Doctor. I apologize.
by Dr. Tufts. But Ms. Clancy, in a note,
Excuse me, Doctor. I apologize. Can I have a standing objection to the rambling answers? This is redirect. I object. We see
Rambling
counsel, someone
answers.
else.
Redirect. I object. Ew. Fucking bow. Ugh.
males,
Reasonable. What?
The break here for certain scheduling reasons. Okay.
So if you could just summarize briefly, what
What he was just saying to the jury was, it was at this point in time, it was just then 1 o'clock. They usually go to their lunch break at 1 o'clock. He was just saying, we're going to stay a few minutes later to finish this, basically.
you said that you thought that Dr. Tufts' approach was reasonable. If you could just summarize briefly why you thought her approach was reasonable.
according to the notes and also the emails, communications with between Dr. Tufts and Ms. Clancy, I found Dr. Tufts to be very responsive to
We still fucking
Ms.
talking
Clancy's
about
symptoms
Tufts.
and concerns in really trying to make adjustments according to how Ms. Clancy was doing.
Thank you. And you were asked by defense counsel about her visit to Women and Infants Hospital and about the defendant. I believe what defense counsel asked you was that every time a doctor told the defendant to do something, she was on it immediately. Do you remember being asked that?
Yes.
And do you recall that in the women and infants records that they offered her 3 programs, an inpatient hospitalization, a partial hospitalization program, and an outpatient program, and the defendant said that she would talk to her provider for guidance about those programs?
Yes.
And do you recall reading in the notes and records of Dr. Topp's nurse practitioner, Delata, that she never discussed those 3 programs with her doctor or her nurse practitioner, correct?
That's my recollection.
Women and children reached
Now,
out to
in terms
Gelada,
of the
and she
calls to
said she never
Aspire,
got
to
the call and never called them
hotline
back.
for the suicide hotline. You were asked about where in the records you saw that, and I would just like to approach, also from Exhibit 222, the note from December 8th, 2022 of Letitia Dukes. And if you could just review this note here, and then we're finished. The defendant's call to the suicide hotline.
Yes.
In reading from this page from the exhibit, page 45, it states that patient contacted Aspire Crisis Support. She met with an Aspire clinician virtually and was told that she did not meet the criteria for inpatient treatment due to not having an SI plan. That's a suicidal ideation plan, correct?
Correct.
And then reading again, Aspire clinician recommended that the patient attend a day program. The clinician said he would be sending the patient resources. Clinician informed the patient that it would be beneficial to attend an IOP or a PHP to help the patient build coping skills and build community.
She's going to ask him what an IOP, inpatient, outpatient, all that.
Patient program.
She told them she did not have a plan, correct?
Correct.
And they didn't just hang up on her. They sent her resources and recommended a
What
day
did they send her? Psychology Today?
program and a partial hospitalization program or an inpatient program, correct?
Correct.
Move to submit these 2 pages, 45 and 46, as the next exhibit. Changes after pregnancy, someone's mental health. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And you said something about the timing matters. Why does the timing matter?
Well, after lactation and a postpartum period, and it may be the decision for a woman to stop lactation can occur at various times, not just during a circumscribed 1-month period. But stopping lactation causes a decrease in prolactin levels and increase in estrogen and progesterone. And it really depends on when someone decides to stop breastfeeding. Those significant hormonal changes that are tied to breastfeeding or lactation. And so that's why timing and the time is important to see at what point did breastfeeding stop and at what point are we seeing symptoms.
And doctor, with the defendant, the breastfeeding stopped sometime in October. Is that correct?
Yes.
And then looking ahead to January 24th, 2023, would you still be expecting to see hormonal problems from stopping breastfeeding in October in January, that many months later?
No.
Now, you were asked about the statements Patrick made regarding his interaction with the defendant when he found her outside in the snow. And is it correct that he told you he found her and said, "What did you do?" And she said, "I tried to kill myself."
Yes.
And did he then say, "Where are the kids?" And she said, "They are in the basement."
Yes.
Did he then tell you that he then called 911?
I don't recall exactly when he told me that he called 911. What I recall is his statement about what she said to him.
And that was her statement to him when he immediately found her on the ground?
Correct.
And you're aware that at some point he made a 911 call, correct?
Yes.
And during that 911 call that you listened to, you didn't hear the defendant saying any words at that point, correct?
I did not.
And as a physician, are you aware that someone who's been injured can deteriorate over time?
Yes, particularly after an overdose.
And can they be speaking in one moment and then unable to speak moments later?
Yes.
Now, you were also asked about the crushed up pills and whether there was any residue
We're doing
on
this again.
the nightstand or anywhere in the house that the police saw, correct?
Yes.
And there was no residue in the photos, correct?
Not that I saw.
But you don't know when she crushed up the pills, do you?
I don't.
If she had crushed them up
Right,
earlier in
she
the day,
probably did it
there
last
wouldn't
week,
necessarily
yeah.
be residue,
Probably,
correct?
that's what she probably did.
Correct.
If she had crushed them up days before and put the empty bottles in a drawer, there wouldn't necessarily be residue, correct?
It's sustained.
Jesus Christ.
There were many texts between the defendant and her mother in January, correct?
Yes.
And from January 7th until January 22nd, when Ms. Clancy's mother and father visited her at her home, the text messages clearly indicated that they were in 2 separate locations, correct?
Yes.
And in those text messages, the defendant repeatedly told her mother that she was doing a little bit better, sleeping's a little bit better, correct?
Yes.
You were asked about Dr. Resnick and how many articles and how many books he's written and how he's well known in this area, correct?
Yes.
And are you familiar with Dr. Resnick's teachings about malingering and about psychosis?
Yes.
And is it fair to say that Dr. Resnick teaches others that one of the red flags to look for in malingering?
You can ask him what he's read. I tell him what he wants him to say.
Thank you.
No, hold on. Let me hear the question first.
Are you aware that one of the red flags that Dr. Resnick teaches to look for in malingering and faking hearing voices is that someone automatically obeys a command?
Yes.
No, that's stricken at this time. Can I see counsel?
Stricken. I don't understand what they're doing. Why do they think that they can just do this shit? I read this article to you guys this morning from the Northeastern University about how long these 2 women have been practicing law. They should know better at this point in time. They should fucking know better. Ice Skater 817. I'm actually gonna miss having you to listen to while I work every day. I love your passion. Oh, that's very sweet of you. I'm not going anywhere though. I'm sure there's gonna be other cases that I cover. This is sort of my thing on this channel. I like to cover the cases. You know, I like to be in court. I like to listen to the testimony. Rebecca likes to do recaps. So I'm going to be doing more cases. I don't know what I'm jumping to after this. I'm very, very interested to see what happens with the jury verdict in this case. I expect that we're going to have a verdict within the next, I don't think they're going to take very long. I think we might have one tomorrow or Monday. Maybe Monday. Maybe they'll give themselves a weekend to think about it. Unless they're just completely deadlocked. I don't know. But I'm not going anywhere. I will continue doing this. Let's fast forward through. We are about to be done here. And I think what I'm going to do, guys, just to give you a heads up on scheduling and housekeeping stuff, I'm going to finish up with testimony here in the next few minutes. And then tomorrow morning, first thing, I'm going to go over the charge conference with you because I don't think I can focus enough on the charge conference right now to understand what's going on. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the charge conference with you in the morning, and then at noon, I will stream the closing arguments, which we'll be behind on because they will have already started. And then later tomorrow night at 5 p.m., Rebecca and I will jump on together for our regular Thursday show. And we'll talk about all this, and we'll talk about Rosemary Scapiccio and Adam Lally, which is happening right now, I think. And we'll talk about the judge dismissing or denying the mistrial motion in Aidan Carney's criminal case. And we're going to talk about all that stuff, plus DePietro. Reddington v. DePietro. So that's what's going to happen tomorrow. So let's just get through the last few minutes of this, and then I am probably going to crash face down in the bed. And Ruby will probably be sleeping on my head while that happens.
Now, you were asked about trying to do collateral interviews with the defendant's family, correct?
Yes.
And you had requested of our office to make arrangements to interview the defendant's parents and her sister, correct?
Yes.
Were you aware that an email was sent to, were you aware that a phone message was left for Paula Musgrove asking if she and her husband would be willing to meet with you on June 11th, 2026?
This is so funny.
And that
Watch
they did not
this.
return the call.
That's my understanding.
And are you aware that an email was sent to Allison Ozga, the defendant's sister, requesting that she meet with you? And her response to that email was, I am awaiting a response from Kevin advising me on participating in Dr. Sackhoff's assessment. I will respond once I speak to him. Were you aware of that?
That was my understanding.
And were you aware that she did not respond after that?
Correct.
And nothing further, thank you.
You weren't aware that Kevin was on a month-long federal trial during that period of time either.
He just
question?
popped up.
Can
He
you
just
repeat it?
popped up. Popped up and said, you weren't aware that Kevin was on a month-long federal trial when that phone call came in, were you? And he was like, the guy's probably like, who the fuck is Kevin? Who's Kevin? Oh my God. I love him so much. I can't. I'm going to miss Kevin Reddington. Watch this.
Respond after that.
Correct.
And nothing further, thank you.
You weren't aware that Kevin was on a month-long federal trial during that period of time either, were you?
Is that a question? Can you repeat it?
You could say, maybe get a little closer to the microphone. I had problems.
Aware, sir, that during the time that Ozga, her sister, said she's waiting to hear from Kevin, and I'm the Kevin, that I was on trial in a month-long federal case. Out of my office. You didn't know that, did you?
I did not know that.
Did you ever think to call me directly or at my secretary, my office manager, to ask about me reaching out to these people?
No.
That's all I got there. Thank you.
Anything else?
No.
All right, thank you, Doc. Thank you. Thank you.
Here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes.
All right, Free Sprague?
Come with us.
All right.
Come with
Members of
us.
the jury, the
Commonwealth West.
Commonwealth has now rested their rebuttal case. So you have.
Thank God.
At this point, what I'm going to do is excuse you till tomorrow morning. All right. And tomorrow morning, you should be ready. We're going to have closing arguments and legal instructions in the morning. And then the jury will begin deliberating. So that's tomorrow. So I would suggest go home, rest up, and be ready for it tomorrow. So
Okay. So they're coming back tomorrow. They go on a little break here. Quite a long break. I think they do a lunch break here. Yeah. That's another reason why I can't. I gotta, because they just came back.
offer.
Okay. So tomorrow morning, I just said this. I'm just going to repeat it just for the record, for our little something's off record. I wish we had a court reporter. That would be awesome. I wish we had a little lady sitting next to me being like, and then Mel said, we don't have that though. Tomorrow morning at 7:30 or 7:45, I am going to come back on and we're going to go through this charge conference that they're doing right now. I believe they're still in there.
We're not
Yeah.
talking about.
They are. And we're going to go through all that. I am going to take a very quick break at that point. Well, not a very quick break. I have a training session that goes from 9:30 till 11:15, and then I'm going to come back on at 12, and we're going to go through closing arguments as close to real time as possible. We'll be a little bit behind, which means we can listen to it in a speeded up version. And then at 5 p.m., I will be back on with Rebecca to talk about all the day's stuff and all the new crimey news that's just come out in the past few days. And yeah, all that. So Jen, thank you for this. It's very sweet. It says, Mel, you are amazing. I don't know how you do all that, but we do greatly appreciate it. Thank you. And Lady Harlot, yes, I am going to do the streams tomorrow and have a training session and be a bonus mom and do some carpooly stuff too at some point. I don't know. And make dinner. I'm the dinner maker in this house. Not all the time. Lindsay makes some dishes that I absolutely love, but I love cooking. So I was like, I would like to do that for the family. That being said, I appreciate you all so much. You feel like a little family here. I'm going to miss doing this every day with you too. Which means I need to find the next trial, the next big case, the next case that, keeps me interested and speaks to me personally. So if you guys know of cases that are happening right now that you want me to cover, definitely let me know. Or if you have, cases that are coming up. I've thought about dipping into the Kefidi case over there, but I think it's a little too chaotic for me. It's a lot. But I don't know, maybe we'll jump in on that for a little bit, at least do some recaps or something. Oh, you're very sweet, Lady Harlot. I thank you. I'm going to take a nap. We will be covering TB in December. Absolutely. If it makes it. I think it probably will. He just lost his second motion to dismiss. So we'll definitely be covering Turtle Boy's trial. We might even be there in person. At least Rebecca will be, and I will obviously come in whenever I can. I know the KPD case is fascinating. I was a pretty big Tupac fan too, so I'm very interested. I can't believe that Diddy's name has been dropped, like just in interviews from the police, on the witness stand. He must be sweating right now. Anyway, I appreciate y'all so much. We're coming back for the charge conference and then closing arguments tomorrow, and then it goes to the jury and we'll be on verdict watch, which I don't know what to expect. I think if they come back quick, that's really good for the defense. If they take too long, it's, better for the prosecution. I think that they may take the weekend to think about it, but who knows what's going to happen. I think the jury room is going to be hot. I think people are going to be arguing and debating, and just like it's been out here in these streets, I think it's going to be messy. But it's important. So let it be messy. Let us debate about it. Let us talk about it. I'm so glad we're able to talk about this case. I appreciate you all very much. You have no idea how much your tips mean to me, how much the super chats mean, how much the memberships mean, and just the folks that are sitting here every day, day in and day out, hanging out with us. It means so much to me. I love our audience, and I appreciate you. And you guys got us to 11,000 this week, which is pretty freaking great. 11,000 subscribers. Send your friends over. Tell people about it. Especially with cases like this, and Karen Reed's case, and Veronica Rodriguez's case, and Turtle Boy's case. These are all important cases that the world needs to know about. So anything you guys can do to help us with the algorithm is greatly appreciated. You know that. And that's all I got to say today, I think. I need to go hydrate a little bit more and go cuddle with my dog and take a nap. And I will see you guys back here first thing in the morning. Love you all very much. Thank you.
You hear it first in the break in the story. One little crack and the whole thing gets wary. A witness swears but the timeline bends. A smile too smooth and the trail just ends. Now Barrett says, hold up, look again. Rebecca Lavoie follows every thread. If it feels too neat, then it's not the truth. There's a shadow line running through the room. Something's off, something's off. You can feel it in the bones. Something's off, something's off. When the facts won't come home. Something's off, something's off. And the case won't stay in place. Something's off. We're the ones who chase